Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gonzo, and welcome to Green Flag TV and Velocity Online Racing's coverage of Round 5 of Season 14 of the VOR Signature Series, the Indycar Championship. And today we come to you from the world's greatest virtual race course, my hometown in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the 14th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race, presented by Dan Inch with ALZ.org and the Alzheimer's Association. We're just about ready to get gridded up here for the big 500-mile race, 200 laps around the 2.5-mile oval. Joining me, as always, is Lucas Moody, and also a third person in the booth because it's a 500-mile race, and we have a lot going on the racetrack, and we need an extra set of eyes. It's Alex Gagnon. Lucas and Alex, welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you here again. Biggest race of the year. In fact, we don't really care about points for this race. It's all about the dub.
Oh yeah, Gary, it is the Brickyard, the legendary Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This racetrack always provides the best racing, whether you're on the road course, whether you're on the oval. I cannot wait to get started with this race here today.
Indianapolis is one of those venues that you just feel the magic in it when we come here for this event. It doesn't even matter that this is virtual. The amount of preparation that these guys have put in over the past several weeks has just made this a whole nother animal from just another race on the schedule.
And we should be getting the starting lineup. We're going to get some extra pace laps here to sort this stuff out. We are going to go for... Now, as you know, iRacing natively does not allow you to do a 3-wide start yet. Come on, iRacing. Can you fix that? How hard is that? But anyways, there is no native 3-wide start here on iRacing. So in order to do a 3-wide traditional start to IndyCar 500-mile races, we're going to have to kind of invent it a little bit here. So that's what we're getting ready to see here. While they're on the grid, they will get in position to go from 2-wide, from the traditional or the built-in native 2-wide starts to 3-wide. So we will have plenty of time.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers are able to get to this 3-wide. And here we go. We have the starting grid. So Gary, I'll let you take that away.
And starting from the pole with a speed of 228.4. That is a 4-lap average. That is just not 1 lap. That is 4 laps. That is 10 miles around this race course. 228.4. In the middle, Edson Santos with a 228.4 as well. And Andreas Vince on the outside of row 1. That is your front row, 228.3. In row 2, we got Seb Kinder, Julian Altena, and Katie Pollock. On row 3, we got the YouTuber Aiden Millward, Jaco Seigers, and Brian Fiolis, the fastest rookie in the field, actually, and he will be lining up 9th. In row 4, we got Mason Mitchum, someone that I'm very familiar with, Dan Inch, who sponsored today's race, and Marcos Teixeira, a longtime VOR veteran. Row 5, we got Milan Vogelzang, who showed up really strong on the road course, John Christensen, longtime league participant, and Roden Eftink, who we saw so well on the road course last week when we were doing the Indy GP. Then we have our points leader on row 6, Kostek Solwedge, Nicholas Presley in the middle, and Clindy, my old pal, on the outside of row 6. Watch Clindy, because he loves this racetrack. Row 7, we've got Seb Dufresne, Shane Coker in the middle, and Muriani on the outside. In row 8, we got Hatsuma, Jensen, and Lal. And then row 9, we have our defending series champion, Luis Nunez. Vitor in the middle of row 9, and Matt Brewer on the outside. Back in row 10 is Kyle Gretsch, Lucas Santos, and Carl Stout. And back in row 11, it's Crocker, Stoll, and Watson. And just a reminder, no driver has ever come from the last row at Indianapolis, real or otherwise, to win. Well, they might have been in sim racing, but certainly not in real racing. And no driver from the last row has ever won the Indy 500. In fact, the farthest back a driver has ever won has won on 2 occasions, back from position 28. That was Louis Meyer, one of the guys that helped originate the swig of milk at the end of the race, and Ray Haroon, the very first Indy 500 winner. 28th is the farthest back a winner has ever come. But a couple guys from the last row have made it close, most notably 1992. That is Scott Goodyear just getting edged out by Al Unser Jr. for the win. Getting ready to go green flag racing here as we are lined up 3 wide down the backstretch. This is a very ceremonial 3-wide, very traditional 3-wide look here. The field is looking very good as we're going through turn 3.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to watch. I think, Gary, the one word I have for you as they approach the line of bricks is chaos. Remember, in this series, drivers are allowed to get out of line as soon as that green flag is dropped, and they are going to be looking and fiending for early positions on this original start here. So these drivers, they're going to get hairy, and it's going to be some fun.
And we are coming down the main straight. The pace car is off, getting ready to go green. They are waiting. Green flag is out, and it is down. Power is on, and here we go. 3 wide, 4 wide, a little further back. We got to watch it through turn 1. These cars do not have all their full downforce yet. Going through 1, 3 wide, 2 wide, much through the field. 4 wide, a little bit further on back. Oh, look at Clindy up the middle.
Yeah, look at Julian Altina and that 11 machine. That bright blue car was in the middle of 3 there, Gary. Into turn 1, some very sketchy stuff, but they've seemed to even out. They seem to file out, and Strauss has done a great job of maintaining this lead, maintaining the cars behind, even though they have that draft, of course. He's been doing a great job of keeping Sebastian Kinder behind.
Well, Strauss and Kinder are teammates, so he helped pull his teammate forward. At the end of lap 1, it's going to be Strauss, Kinder, Santos. A little bit further back, we see one of the, I believe that's Fiola's popping out, taking a peek to the outside and to the inside, going to the 1.
Everyone's still fighting for position here in the early couple of laps, but they got through arguably the most dangerous part of this race, which is turn 1, lap 1, when everyone's still stacked up 3 by 3. Everyone now starting to find their own little bit of real estate here on the track, trying to start making some forward progress and starting to settle in to see how their cars is going to handle to race conditions and race pace here today.
These tires are still got the newness on them, and they're going to have the maximum sticking, but eventually as they get later into this run, these tires are starting to start going to degrade it a little bit, and the aero wash. Seb Kinder purple that time by 2:18.4 as we're still building up speed.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers here. They're not opting to save fuel as you might see in a lot of scenarios. A lot of these drivers, you can see them getting out of line, wanting to make up early positions, really fighting for the track position. And here it is once again. I believe that's Millward. He got through Vinci before the corner. Now looking to the inside of Altena mid-corner. Can he get it? It's the league owner on the outside. It's Millward, the YouTuber, on the inside and down.
Oh, and he blinks out.
Turn 4 is blinking.
Dangerous. That is dangerous right there. Millward, getting right close to Julian. A little bit of a side draft. Now he gets in line. He's up into the wall. He might have had a mechanical. And that we're caution on the racetrack. That is in Millward.
Wow, yeah, just looked like a bunch of internet issues. I don't know if he had some weird phantom netcode that gave him some suspension damage, but Alex, that was a really weird one.
Yeah, it really was, especially because that kind of started all the way back in 3 and 4. We saw how much speed he was carrying, gets into the top 5, was in that battle with Altena, and then going down the front straightaway, we were seeing some of that connectivity issues, and just when it seemed like it stabilized, that car did not seem like it turned at all going into turn 1. Might have been mechanical, might have been connection. Either way, that is a destroyed race car for Millward.
He is already towed, so he is back to the pits.
Yes, we'll see. So yeah, remember he had that blinking problems, the netcode issues. I wonder if that took off his front right, oh no, he just full DC'd, I think. Yeah, he
is retired from the event already, and that is, all the work you put into this, and we've seen this in real IndyCar racing where you have the quote-unquote month of May, but it's just week or so of practice. And then weekend long trying just to make the field. You get into the field, you have a little bit more practice with carburation day and final practice. You feel good about this thing. And then even before you really get to build up a sweat, even before your tires kind of are up to full temperature and everything, you're out at lap 5 and that's it. And then you don't get another shot for another season.
who can forget, this year Scott McLaughlin spun it and damaged the car trying to warm up the tires before they even got going. I mean, this is a thing across sim racing and the real world Indy 500 where sometimes all that prep, there's nothing you can do, and that's why this race has made so many champions but broken so many hearts over the years. Just one of those events where you put all this effort in, sometimes it gets dashed before you even really have a chance of getting going.
Let's see who's going to make a dive down pit road. I would suspect some cars a little bit further on back might use this as an opportunity to go ahead and maybe not grab tires, although we're going to have plenty of tires, and there is at least one car taking a peek to the inside, and now here comes a whole host of them from the rear. They're going to top off and maybe try a little bit of a gamble and see when we get to about 30 laps from now, when the leaders will actually start thinking about pitting if we don't have any other further cautions until then. That we might see that those guys that are coming in now for the top off, we might see them get a lucky break if they get a lucky caution during the first stint.
Yeah, for the drivers that are in the back of the field, for some context on why they would pit, it really is just a top off, extend your fuel stint by even 5 laps can make the difference. If a caution comes out in that weird, awkward 5-lap window, that the people that pit can make it out, but the people that didn't pit this time can't, then the people that pit right here, they're going to get a huge jump on the field, being able to pit under that caution while everybody else had to pit before it. And even though it's going to put you in the back of the field, it's going to lose you a lot of track position. Those 5 extra laps can sometimes be very, very crucial towards the end of this race.
Yeah, and the more you see cars starting to get off cycle from the leaders, the more variables that open up as this race continues. This is just, the first domino to fall per se in that sense, but we're going to see this continue throughout the afternoon, and we're going to see more and more cars start getting off cycle with each other, and then it becomes a real battle of strategy as we get a little deeper into this event, when cars are constantly coming on and off pit road, especially under green. Makes it really interesting. Can also make it a little bit dicey if you're racing with someone and all of a sudden they bolt the pit road without you realizing that they need to come down.
So just to reset the field as we're okay, so we're hearing back from the infield care center that Millward lost his monitor. So he went black, and all of a sudden he did the right thing. He just decided to go find the wall, which he knew he was right next to, grab it and ride it out. And that was the good thing. Otherwise, we've seen it before in league history, and I will talk about an instance that Julian does not like. I think it was the start of season 5 or 6. We were at Homestead, and I was actually starting way in the back of the pack. And up a little bit further, one of our teammates, as soon as we took the green flag, his monitor went. And ended up taking out Julian as a result. Julian was also one of my teammates at the time. And Julian will always talk about, hey, do you remember that time that Oscar had a failure and took me out at Homestead, which ended up leading to me getting I think I got a top 10 finish that race because I just outlasted everybody. But I remember that race well, and he understands what it's like to get a mechanical very early on and get taken out. And I will say Aiden did a really good job at keeping his car out of the way and not collecting anybody else. So we still have 32 cars running in the run for this 500-mile race, getting ready to go green next time by. First car on pit road. First car off of pit road that is now on the racetrack is in 24th position. That's Kyle Gretsch. Everyone else in front of Kyle from 23rd on up is still on the same strategy they started this race on. So we expect to see them on pit road in about another 30-ish laps or so. Pace car is getting ready to leave the track, getting ready to resume here at lap 7, coming to lap 8. And there goes the pace car, ducking off onto pit road. The field is under the command of Strauss and Kinder. We are already in the back, starting to fan out.
I don't know if you saw that dark green car. Looks like there was a checkup. Had to take avoiding action at the last second.
But black flags all over the place. Altena black flag, Vitor black flag, Sol black flag, Law black flag. Are these going to actually be kept, or is race control going to clear them?
I believe they clear all black flags down the back straight. So I think in this league they clear all those black flags down the main back straight. So they should all be fine. But look at that, Altena on the podium position now. He made some really good gains there. At that restart, look at that, Katie Pollock in the middle of 3 or on the bottom of 3 almost. It's getting dicey there for that 7th position.
Black flags look like they've been cleared, so major bullets dodged. It's still, here's Julian to the inside of Seb Kinder going for P2, and he's going for the lead.
Julian Altena now to the point here at Indianapolis. He'll lead going through turn 2 over the pole sitter. And for Altena, this has been one of those races that has really been, the golden goose he hasn't been able to grab yet. 4 top 5s in the past 5 attempts in this race. None of them, though, in victory lane. Will it be different here today? Strauss got back by him for first. We've got ourselves a real duel in the top 3 as Kinder's in the mix as well.
And look at him in back 3 wide, and that is one of the leaner energy cars. I believe that's VOR taking a peek to the inside. There goes Matt Brewer to the inside. We should watch him. He has a lot of pace. Julian, purple lap, a 2:19.8 at the front, and that's not without the draft. So he's doing that by himself. Here's Strauss going to the inside, down the backstretch, also a little bit further back. We got Brewer taking a peek to the inside of Presley. He is getting the position. He might go get Pressy. He might also get VOR. VOR is going to give a room. VOR is going to go high. Oh, we almost take 2 cars up to the wall.
Yeah, these cars are pushing themselves to the absolute limit here. There's so many intricate details with their roll bars, with the weight jackers that they can push with. And that's Katie Pollack going down the inside of 1 now. I believe that's a move on to Brian Fiolis. As on that occasion, she's still side by side with him. I believe, that's Gilherme. He's going side by side within 1, into 2. Can she get it done on the back straight? And no, it's still side by side. Who's that behind the dark green car looking to make it 3 at Soloage? Your curtain points leader now making his opportunity.
You got to make hay while the getting's good here at Indianapolis before everything kind of gets into single file. And he is optimizing his attempt right now. Certainly, he knows he's got the points lead, which we will talk about as we get into this race. Remember, this is a long race. It's 500 miles. Matt Brewer to the inside of Julian Altena. Move him up to 3rd as he slides in front of now back behind Seb Kinder.
Drive it's been so far for Matt Brewer. He started well outside the top 15. Storm in 26th to kick this one off. He's now up to 3rd, looking for 2nd. Flies by the inside of Kinder. He's going to make a move for the lead here in the 3.
It could be very possible. While that looks aggressive, it could be very possible that Strauss, Kinder, and Altena very experienced in these cars. Official races, league races, hundreds of starts probably. And if they see a fast car coming that just wants to punch the hole in the air for them and allow them to hang, but also conserve fuel, they will let those cars go. This is a long race. It doesn't matter who leads at lap 13 or 14. It only matters who leads at lap 200.
Yeah, that's really what it is about, and it's who you can work with through the race here. Even though this is not a super speedway like you see in NASCAR sometimes, or you really have to worry about the bump draft and bumping and finding a good bump partner, you still really want to be able to collaborate with the drivers around you. If you're able to get a 1-2 chain of teammates or people that work together very well, and you're just able to toss it off, one guy overtakes into 1, the other guy overtakes into 3, it is very difficult for the people behind you to catch up and even make a move, because you're never on the brakes, because you're always handing off to who has the draft, and you're always carrying a huge amount of speed going into the corners. And that is what Brewer and Strauss are doing right here. So you see that Brewer uses a slipstream, gets it down the main straight, and then Strauss will take the position back down the back straight, and that is a really good way to get 1 and 2, not only the fuel saving, but to keep their position steady.
Now, I don't know how much they really want to work together, considering the cars in 2nd and 3rd are teammates. How much do you want to lock your teammate out? I suspect at some point, if Kinder can get close enough, he might just follow Matthias on through, and then they could start doing the swapping a little bit more effectively. But right now, Brewer hanging tough and showing the pace, and he's going to have a big run off of 2 to the inside.
Taking a peek here down the back straightaway. Brewer again trying to find that lead, take that spot into 3. Strauss and Brewer keep swapping it turn 1, turn 3, just like Lucas, you were saying a moment ago. And this is starting to let Kinder, Altena, and Vincennes get into the battle just a little bit here. They're starting to pull out just a little bit, and this is that moment we're starting to see what you see at all Indy races when the field starts to fan out a little bit. We have some takers for pit road deeper in the back.
James Watson coming to pit pit road. I don't know if maybe he smacked the wall and is entering pit road. He has a meatball flag, so he has smacked the wall. That might be terminal for him, but a little bit back up into the race. Let's go back a little bit more into the field. Look at ninth spot, Carl Stout. He is up 20 positions. This is a real-world Road to Indy driver, and he is up 20 positions to P9 right now, and just ahead of him is someone else on a very similar march, and he has just now joined his teammate. Vitor Guilherme has joined his teammate Edson Santos. They are part of the Leaner Energy Brazilian squad. Vitor up 18 spots. Matt Brewer, we should not forget about him as well, even though he's in second. We have 3 wide, a little bit further in the back. That is Clindy getting really close with Lucas Santos and Mariani.
Yeah, these drivers are really starting to get impatient, even though it's only lap 17 out of 200. These drivers aren't even an eighth of the way through the race, but they're still fighting as hard as they can for some reason. I mean, I guess they just like to drive aggressive as they're nearly white-walling each other, nearly running each other up into the wall on the exit of 4 there. This is getting so scrappy for a race that's usually all about fuel management.
Well, you know, it's fuel management once you have a place where it's just you on the racetrack, but these guys have been really duking it out in the middle of the pack here. It's better to try to fuel save, you know, from 10th and say 13th to get you a little bit closer to the end goal, and I think that's where a lot of these drivers are trying to battle out in this top 15, 20 cars. It all seems to be single filing a little bit here. You'll see the occasional car, like right here, he's going to make a dive to the inside. I want to say that's the 52 machine taking a peek to the inside here, trying to slide that spot around. And he'll go off into turn 4. That's Lucas Santos in the 5. And he's now up to the 13th position. Slowly but surely working his way up.
Let's give you an update here where we stand here as we are now 20 laps into this thing. It is Brewer going for the lead, then swapping it with Strauss, our pole sitter. Then we got Kinder, Altena, and Andreas Vince. And let's take a look at Andreas's car real quick. If that might look familiar to you, that is a reproduction and an homage to the 1985 winner of the Indianapolis 500, Danny Sullivan, with the spin and win. Andreas said that he's turning 40, and he looked back who won the Indy 500 40 years ago, and that was Danny Sullivan. I hate to say this, I remember that race. I was listening to it on the radio, and it was amazing listening to the guys in the radio or on the radio talk about how he spun, and Mario totally missed him. And the interesting thing about really back watching and listening to Indy 500s being from Indianapolis back then is that the race, for the most part, even up into current history, was blacked out. So we didn't know for the longest time what that spin looked like here in Indianapolis unless you were in the stands. And for a lot of us, we didn't get to see until they replayed the race on tape delay later that night to finally get to see the spin and win actually happen on TV.
Yeah, talking about a moment that I don't think I was alive for, so I don't think I got to witness that, unfortunately. But it sounds great from how you're describing it. As Katie Polak makes a great move to get past Vitor Guilherme, now looking for P7 on Edward Santos. It looks like Katie's got a lot of pace in her car right now. I'm really trying to make do with that. Probably, set those roll bars really aggressive, and look at this.
The corner, got the aero wash from the car in front of her. I think that was Stout, and again getting the aero wash. Edson giving a lot of room, but you got to be careful. The Brazilian drivers are always driving with the specter of netcode hanging over them because I think this is actually a race on a European server. Maybe we moved it to North America, but still, those foreign drivers have that specter hanging over them. So you just got to take that into account and maybe give a little bit of room. But thank God, no netcode.
Yeah, everything clean and good there so far. Polak now up to that 7th position. As we're taking a look here a little further up. That's that battle for 4th. That's Stout and Altena. Carl Stout looking pretty good, up from 29th to the 5th position. One of the big movers alongside Matt Brewer. We've seen a couple cars from way deep in the field make some really good forward progress in this opening stint of the race. There's the other one, Matt Brewer, currently running in that 2nd position. And the two of them are up 20-plus spots both. And they're both hunting for the lead here. Brewer back to the inside, looking to get that spot off of Strauss. This is on board with the Kinder machine in third.
Here we see him going through the south end of the racetrack. Now we're into turn 4. We're going to head up the main straightaway. We're heading north or south now on the racetrack geographically, heading to the south end, turn 1. Behind turn 1 is the main offices for the speedway. Now we're in turn 1. Now we're getting ready to hit the south short chute or the north short chute, and so that is opposite 16th Street. Now we're going into turn 2. Right in front of the Riley Children's Hospital suites, the original racing suites in all of racing. Now down the backstretch, which separates 2 portions of the Brickyard Crossing golf course, and then they pilot into turn 3. Just beyond turn 3 is a residential neighborhood. So if you like racing and you want to live next to a racetrack, there you go, live there. Into turn 4, just opposite the Coca-Cola bottlers of Indianapolis, and back down the main straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Gary, but I would absolutely love to own a house in that suburban neighborhood that you're mentioning down there. As Strauss and Brewer still 1 and 2 in this race, still looking like they're wanting to work together to keep that gap to Stout fairly big there. And just behind them is, of course, going to be Kinder and Altena. So it's really interesting. You kind of mentioned it as Kinder, I believe, is actually the teammate of Matthias Strauss. So
it is.
That's going to be Team Watson Racing having 2 cars within the top 5, the only team to have 2 cars in this top 5 so far. And of course, you have Altena for Altena Autosport, and then just behind him is Vinci, who I believe is on team that's Gridline Syndicate. So just a lot of teams in this top 5 battle here, top 6 battle, I should say. They're just swapping back and forth. And you talk about this track, Gary. It is such an amazing track to go to. I recommend if you live in Indy, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, even West Virginia, any state relatively close, Kentucky as well, make your way up to the track if you love autosports. It is absolutely amazing. I will be there tomorrow for the Battle of the Bricks at IMSA 6 Hour, and I cannot wait to hear the GTPs, to hear the LMP2s, and to hear those GT3 cars because they sound absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and don't forget, the Hall of Fame Museum has just been recently renovated. You should check that out. It's now a bit of a... Before, it looked and even smelled of the 70s when they built that place in 1976. And now it's more of an interactive, kind of an attraction type of a place that you want to go to now. So you want to check out the Hall of Fame Museum on the grounds of the Speedway. This place doesn't look as big when you watch it on TV or even one of these streams, but keep in mind, in the middle of this racetrack, there is another racetrack. Well, actually, there's 2 racetracks. There's a dirt oval. You do have the infield road course, but if you were to lay out this racetrack on a map, you could fit inside this racetrack, Yankee Stadium, the Coliseum, and that is the Roman Coliseum. You could fit in the Vatican. You could fit in Churchill Downs, and you can still fit in some other items and still have room left over. That is how big this place is.
Truly just a massive facility. The one time I've had the opportunity to go, it was 2 years ago, and the time that we were there, I'm pretty sure I walked the better part of 7-8 miles that day, and that was just from, going from that said neighborhood you guys were talking about earlier. We parked on someone's front lawn, walked on in, saw the race, walked on back, and did some exploring at the track while we were there, and I feel like it was almost a half marathon by the time it was said and done. And these guys will be eclipsing the marathon mark, I don't even know, probably close to almost 20 times here today when this thing's said and done. I mean, they'll be running a ton of mileages, and we're getting close-ish to that first round of green flag pit stops, Gary. They're getting close to being within the window here.
Yeah, we've had a number of cars already hit pit road. Law's pit road already, and Gretsch has hit pit road. Crocker has hit pit road. Coker's pit road. Tessera. Some of these, a lot of these were at lap 6. Watson's the only one to come in since then, and he was at 16, and I think he's back underway after getting repairs. But the window for the first round of stops is really starting to open, will open here in the next lap. And then we're going to see if there's going to be anyone that's just going to ride it out, try to undercut. Who knows? But I would suspect the guys up front are just going to ride it out as long as possible.
Yeah, and going back to just the sheer size of the stadium, I've run the math, and you can fit about 400 American football fields just inside of the Speedway. which is a mind-blowing number. I mean, because you think about a football field, they are huge. Like, they are 100 yards long. They're absolutely massive. Just trying to walk down the entire thing, you think would take forever. The fact, trying to picture 400 of those shoved in all side by side, and that's the size of the speedway here. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And yeah, you talk about walking through this thing. I mean, it feels like you can walk for miles and almost like you haven't gotten anywhere. Like, that's really what it feels like. You're like, well, that's one side of the track. That's the other side of the track. And I feel like I'm walking towards that side of the track, but I haven't actually gotten anywhere. So, like, am I even walking at all?
You know, while we had a second there, we were taking a look at the number 1 machine of Luis Nunez. I think it's worth mentioning one of the only previous winners of this race in the field here today. Started 24th, now up to 13th. And we're starting to see a couple of cars still to pit road, including the leaders, Brewer and Strauss.
Yeah, this is, I'm guessing it's by chance. I don't think they're working together per se, that they're both coming to pit road, but this is good for both of them because they will have a draft buddy. And yes, this is not, we don't, when we talk about draft here in IndyCar, it's not like stock car with the old plate tracks and all that. The draft does matter here, but he's going to have a draft buddy down the straights to, kind of help them keep pace with the larger group. And Brewer's going to beat him out, but he's going to be right there on his attenuator coming off of pit road, and then they'll be able to work together and help keep the pace while the rest of the group. Katie Polak rode an F-Tank on pit road, scheduled stop.
Yeah, as I believe you like to call him Tink, the nickname you gave him for the last week, which I thought was pretty funny. He is making his stop.
And he missed his marks, and that's going to hurt.
Rough. Yeah, that's huge time loss. It doesn't look like much, Gary, but that's probably about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, which is a huge amount of time on the race course. If you think about these drivers are fighting for tenths, Alex, 1.5 seconds is a lot of time.
Yeah, it really is, especially with how stacked up this field still is a little bit. Looking at that, at most 2 seconds went by, but that gap is the difference between the leaders in about 8th, 9th, 10th place at the moment. So that is going to be about 8-9 positions.
Stout really misses his marks. Stout's still finding his marks. That's going to hurt.
Oh, shoot.
In the wall.
Mari's in the wall.
88. Hard into the outside wall. That right front tire looked to get some significant damage coming off of turn 2. The pit cycle is really letting the chaos unfold at the moment.
Mariani and
that car is destroyed. Another hit into the wall, or if that's the replay of, man, that car does not look happy.
Yeah, he is on pit road right now, and a whole bunch. Here comes Strauss on pit road. Or excuse me, that's Seb Kinder on pit road. Nunez on pit road. Lucas Santos on pit road. Leader now through the exchange of pit stops is Julian, and so right in front of him, he has a teammate. That's Tink. Tink just stopped. So Julian, if he could latch on to Tink, which look at this draft, he could latch on to Tink. He might be able to pull himself forward. And while the tires are nice and warm and not as grippy and kind of wasted at this point, he's still going to be on the light tank. He might be able to use this draft to put some good pre-pit stop laps in and maybe help him secure this lead when he comes to pit road. Vitor coming to pit road right now.
Yeah, if Alton is able
also to pit road.
Yeah, if Alton is able to get the draft from his teammate, the back marker, I guess it would be in that circumstance. Yeah, able to really protect the undercut, still getting a lot of speed, getting the draft from the car ahead. But yeah, Alton and Polak, a bunch of cars we saw making early moves. They're fighting in that top 7 for this first part of the race, and we can see that they've really been saving fuel, which is really what you want to do here early on. Extend as much as possible and see by the end of the race, when the cautions are all said and done, see if you can save an extra stop, see if you can get pit or caution as Julian Altsna in that 11 machine is coming down to pit road in that bright blue, gorgeous looking car.
And a ton of cars are going to be making that stop now. They saw the leader make the stop, and everyone said, yeah, that feels about right, and made their way down pit road as well. Better part of 10 cars on pit road. This will really kick through most of the cycle of cars who needed the pit in this window. Some of the only cars left on the racetrack there, Gary, are the folks who came down at lap 6.
Yeah, as we expected, and they are hoping for a caution now. And this is kind of ripe for when a caution happens. But we have Julian on pit road. We got Pollock on pit road, Clindy on pit road. Clindy's going to come off pit road third in that group. Solwich on pit road, our points leader. Edson Santos going long, but he's coming to pit road right now with Vinci. Also coming to pit road is Vogelzang. Everybody else coming to pit road. Mitchum coming to pit road. Lucas Santos goes purple, 221.7. Lal is now your leader. Santos, black flag, speeding on pit road.
That's a huge penalty. That is a 30-second or 40-second hold, I believe. That is nothing small.
Yeah.
That will nearly put you an entire lap down. The Edward Santos, that 20 machine, you're going to take a look at how much speed he was carrying into pit lane here. But that is super unfortunate and nearly the end of his day unless he can, get a caution, get back around. But let's see, you want to brake usually right about as that white line is starting. Doesn't lock it up.
I'm going to go back in IndyCar history, in Indy 500 history. Jacques Villeneuve came back from 2 laps down in 95 to win the Indy 500. They call it the Indy 505 for him. It is possible, but you need a lot of luck.
Yeah,
that's one of those situations for Edson Santos. He was a 4th place runner here a couple of years ago. He's going to need a whole lot of luck to get back to that spot here this year.
Yeah, and you talk about, it's funny watching, the leader goes in, everybody else goes behind. That's something that I can kind of relate to because, when you're in the pack for an oval race, whether it be stock cars, whether it be these open wheelers, I remember my teammates are like, okay, should we pit this time? And I have 4 words, monkey see, monkey do. Whatever the leaders do, whatever they do in front of me, I'm going to do the same thing because in this early in the race, there's no reason to put yourself on an adverse strategy, to put yourself, to take that much of a risk. Really not worth it. So just if the leader pits, you pit. It's simple as that sometimes.
I always used to have a joke that when we'd run the races in the VOR League when I was a participant, Gary, what are you pitting or what are you doing? And I used to be a former champion and used to be the all-time winner and leader in wins for the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series, Alex Van de Sande. I was like, I'm doing whatever he does.
I mean, that's a very valid pick for a guy who's won this race 4 years in a row.
Everybody else now coming to pit road. So that second crew that stopped a little early, they are now coming to pit road for service now at lap 41.
And notably
we got some guys missing that. We got a lot of guys missing their marks on pit road. You would have thought that during the practice and everything leading up to this, they would have practiced some green flag stops.
And I have a feeling a lot of them did, but sometimes you get all that adrenaline. If it's your first time down pit road, the race is settling in how you want it, and you just have a brief mental lapse because you're so focused on getting on and off pit road. Sometimes that's all it takes, and it can come back to bite you. So taking a look here, a couple of cars who haven't pit yet. Here's one of them. Amon Lal now down pit road, and those cars who pit at lap 6 pit a little bit closer, I think, to the tail end of that pit cycle versus the 6-lap separation they had at the start. I think they're slowly working their way back onto a similar strategy.
Yeah, the longer we stay green, and if they're especially not conserving fuel and they're just on full burn, they're going to actually kind of shorten their runs a little bit. But now the lead gets handed off to Kyle Gretsch, who is all by himself, 36 laps into this thing, and he is way out in front from everybody. And I suspect he's coming to pit road about any area as he's taking a shot to the inside, trying to stay out of everyone's way, getting to the inside. He's very conservatively coming to pit road. He might be out of fuel.
Yeah, Gretsch might have just overextended his stint a little bit. There he is in that green and black car. He's going to be the last one of our drivers that hasn't made this pit stop yet. Looks like it's going good. Oh, he locks him in the wall. He pulls a Robert Schwartzman. His pit crew is completely broken. Their legs are gone.
I think he was dead stick. And so he missed his mark, so he hit it back up, so he had the tow. So that was costly right there. That's a dead stick pit stop.
Wow.
This race is so much about trying to avoid mistakes. You can't win this race most times if you have any major mistakes like that. And for Kyle Gretsch, I mean, that's going to be incredibly costly.
You can't win the race by being conservative on pit road, but you can lose the race by just making mistakes on pit road, if any of that makes sense. But here we 100%. Go back to the lead. We go back to the lead now as now the pit cycle is over, and really the way that this thing's going to work here is, and you think that we have a little time before the next pit cycle comes through. We only are looking at about another 20 laps before we get to the next round of pit stops. Brewer and Strauss are your leader. Altena is now third. Kinder fourth. Nuez Nunez, he has crept up now to fifth. The Vitor Guilherme is in sixth. Katie Pollock is seventh. We got Glindy now up in the eighth. Stout in ninth. And Lucas Santos in 10th.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is weird. In that third row back, just behind Strauss and Buer, that is not the light blue car of Julian Altena. That is a car lapped down who's sending it three into turn three. A lap car going three wide, putting himself back on the lead lap.
That is Santos, and he wants
Santos,
that badly,
okay.
and we know he has pace, so he is very much wanting to get out in front of this and now hope for a caution. Brewer knows that Santos is a very competitive driver here. I don't want to keep him on the same lap as me either. I would pass him back, and he's doing that. Now, you might just see in the back here, you might just see Strauss just say, you know what? You two go play with each other. We're just going to hang on back here and work on fuel mileage.
Yeah, and this is the thing, if you're Edson Santos at this point, you know, that black flag for spitting on pit road, it's basically cost him a lap of time. So you see he was running in the top 10 before that pit cycle, now battling for the lead, but one lap down. He's trying to get around Brewer again, just so he has a chance of getting back on the lead lap here. It's easier said than done, because, man, that 14 machine of Matt Brewer has charged to the front and has looked incredibly strong all afternoon long.
Now he's at 25 spots. Your other big gainers of the day, Nunez up 19, Vitor Guilherme up 19, Carl Stout up 22, Lucas Santos up 18. That's in your top 10 alone. So a lot of these guys in the top 10 have been piecing their way through this field bit by bit, little by little, and over this last pit stop exchange really helped them out. Brewer is not giving any room in any inches whatsoever to Edson Santos.
Yeah, he is not playing the game with him. He was perfectly fine with playing the game with Matthias Strauss, but he said, you're a lap down. You should not be here. Please get out of my rearview mirrors. That's exactly what's going through the mind of Brewer. As someone who's been in the position of trying to get a lap car out of your way, it is super frustrating. I know exactly what's going through the mind of that light blue 14 machine. It is just, it's kind of like a fly in like buzzing right around your ear. It's like, get chill. Why are you here? It's just, it's that feeling of like, you shouldn't be here, but there's not a lot I can do.
It's also one of those situations where, I mean, Edson Santos had top 10 pace all through this first into this race. Like, he clearly has a similar amount of speed to the 14 through the early going, and then is just, you know, been caught in this situation from that pit cycle. So it's tough to swat a fly that's as fast as you, that's for sure.
And while we got a little bit of time to breathe here, if you enjoy Green Flag's TV coverage of the VOR Indycar Series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future iRacing broadcasts. Of course, we are coming to you from the world-famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the track record set back here in 1996 by Ari Lyondike, Flying Dutch, and a countryman to Julian Altena with a 4-lap average of 236.986. That is yet to ever be eclipsed to this day. They're getting close, but they have yet to eclipse it. The overall single lap track record, 237.4, set in that 4-lap average run by Ari Lyondike, and the unofficial lap was turned in practice a Fast Friday, also in 1996. 239.2, also by Ari Lyondike. It should be no secret, if you're an IndyCar fan and you like IndyCar racing and you know all about the Indianapolis 500, your career wins leaders at Indianapolis are AJ Foyt, Alan Senior, Rick Mears, and Elio Castro-Neves, each with 4 wins. And then we have the group of 3 with 3 wins. We have Frank Hitti, Meyer, Rose, Rutherford, Shaw, Bobby Unser, each with 3. Your leading active drivers nowadays is still with Castro-Neves. He shows up for Indy only. Takuma Sato has 2 wins. Don't forget about those. And also Joseph Newgarden with the back-to-back wins. And it should have been back-to-back-to-back if things didn't go badly for him this year. But he has 2 wins as well. Your defending Indy 500 champion, of course, is Alex Palou. Team Penske figuratively and literally owns the Speedway. From 1972 to today, the team has amassed 19 Indy 500 wins between 14 different drivers. Penske's Penske Entertainment Group are now the current owners and operators of the Speedway, and they've been that since 2020. Can you guys all name the Penske winners here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
No.
Recently or all time? Because that answer's going to vary great. All right, then probably not. I can tell you that much. I can tell you some of the recent ones. But, his
first win back in 1972 with Mark Donohue. Everyone tends to forget about that in the Sunoco Special. Then Rick Mears. Each of his 4 wins came under the Penske banner. Uncle Bobby won here in a very controversial 1981 race that actually had Mario Andretti as a winner for a very long time, as we watched Brewer getting evasive with Santos. Santos going out to the actual wall. Now here comes Strauss to the inside. Strauss, excuse me. We got Santos, who didn't get the run he wanted off the corner, and he's going to now fall back in the order, and he does not really want that. Santos taking a look, or excuse me, Nunez taking a look to the inside of Strauss.
There's a lot happening in the top 5 right now. Everyone fighting for position, including the lap car of Edson Santos. Right now, though, Kinder and a spirited battle with Luis Munoz. That's that battle for 4th place. They are the 5th and 6th car in line. Is Strauss now making a move for the lead again? The 2 cars who traded the top spot in the opening stint as they got real close in 3. They're back to trading the lead here in lap 52. The pole sitter, Strauss, back to the front. Brewer going to have to settle for second momentarily. He's going to dive it right back in there, though, Lucas.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I don't know who's won the most Indy 500s or most blah, 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 but I do know who's had the most Indy 500 heartbreaks. That's my guy, Pato O'Ward. You know, he's been through it all when it comes to this race. The second place is the weird,
I think
the
Mario
weird Rex,
Andretti
you know.
will disagree with you. I think Mario Andretti would disagree.
I still remember
Sleeper pick
the
for
moment.
J.R. Hildebrand.
Sorry, who?
J.R. Hildebrand, who lost it in 2011.
Yeah, took the white flag and crashed coming to the checker off of turn 4. And all he had to do was stay behind Kimball there, and he would have just finished fine, but he decided he wanted to pass him for some reason. Also, don't forget Team Penske. We had Danny Sullivan. Big Al won his 4th with Team Penske in 87. Fittipaldi won with Penske in 93. 94 was Little Al with the Beast. Then Castro Neves got 3 of his 4 wins with Team Penske.
Not to mention a mirror ball trophy for his troubles.
Right, and he got back-to-back wins in 2001 and 2002. Although if you talk to Paul Tracy, he might debate that 2002 victory. The third one in 2003. Sam Hornish won in a banger in 2006. Juan Montoya won in 2015 after 15 years after his first win. Then we got Will Power, who's off into new pastures for next season. I don't think he should have lost his seat, to be honest with you. Pagano also got a win, and then Newgarden got 2 wins with Team Penske. And those are all of your winners with Team Penske.
Yeah, and I still remember that most recent Joseph Newgarden win. As a Pato fan, just absolutely heartbreaking because that was my first ever Indy 500. And you know, seeing Pato take the lead into 1 on lap 200, you're thinking he's got it. You're thinking there's no way Newgarden can possibly get around him. O'Ward blocks the inside into 3. Newgarden goes around the outside like an absolute maniac, pulls off the move in sensational fashion, and takes the checkered flag first out of the 200 laps. It was absolutely heartbreaking moment. The fans were all rooting for O'Ward, and you could just feel the disappointment from in the arena, or not in the arena, the stadium, sorry. You could just feel the disappointment, the sadness as Santos getting a lot of wash up there on exit.
I'm a Newgarden fan. I don't apologize for it. I've actually I named my dog Joseph, actually, as a matter of fact. But I do very much want. I'm a bit of a wrestling fan as well, and I would love to see Joseph just get out of the car with people booing at him and just go cut a full heel promo on everybody. Just get it over with, and then everyone after a while always likes to heel, and he'll be cheered again. But he is very much the pretty face for the series, and well, I gotta admit, he is a pretty handsome fella.
Taking a look here, this battle right in front of Edson Santos. That's the battle for the lead. Brewer and Strauss continue to trade that top spot. And right now, if you're Edson Santos, you're just hoping these guys start to hold each other up a little bit, get you back into the mix, try to get that lap back. Has not had the ability to really recovery since he got dropped back to the 3rd car in line here. Has not had the chance to recover, but here he goes once again, trying to find something here. If they run side by side, you might have a little bit of an opportunity. Easier said than done, though.
We had the camera on him for a while, but Julian, I think, is being the most patient here. He's just riding it out in third spot in the draft from a car that's trying to get back on the lead lap. So really, the invested time is just sitting behind those cars, and he's in that draft envelope. The draft envelope of these cars extends about 1.5 seconds behind him. He's well within that envelope right now, and he is just cruising and slowly getting better and better fuel mileage than these guys up in front of him that are racing. Even Santos, it looks like, might have decided that he's going to stick it out back there and try to conserve and work on some pilots. Car on the wall, Katie Pollock off of 4.
Big time shunt off the wall. Everyone taking evasive action. 42 looks to still be in okay shape, but boy, did they really whack the wall there off of 4.
Yeah, lost a lot of momentum. Clindy gets on by. Lucas Santos gets on by.
Yeah, let's see how it happened. Just washes up. It's so easy to do around this track. You lose focus for literally a fraction of a second, like 0.005 of a second, and you're washing up into the wall under dirty air. And one thing I do want to remind the viewers at home, the lucky dog rule is on, which means that the lapped car, or the lead lapped car, I should guess. What's the best way to say that? This is the lapped car that the first car lapped down. The first car lap down does get their lap back as Road Neve comes down pit road. So where Edward Santos is currently right now, he will get the lap back under the next caution. Even though he probably would just prefer the wave round from being ahead of Brewer and Strauss. No reason to push, no reason to crash yourself out, knowing you're going to get the lap back no matter what.
There's a couple ways he could do it, right? So and we're going 3 wide down the backstretch, and that is Lal I'm seeing there back with Fiolis. So he could stay out, and if Strauss and Brewer are in front of him, they come to pit road, then he would get the wave around. But getting to pit road and getting service done to get back on the same strategy as Brewer now is on pit road, like right when I said we figured around lap 60. We're at the 150 lap mark as we have other drivers now coming to pit road. But that's one way he could do it. But otherwise, the lucky dog, which is not a native IndyCar rule, but you will see it as part of league competition to help keep more cars on the lead lap, which I'm not necessarily against it. I'm against all NASCAR gimmicks, period. But I guess I'm least against the lucky dog out of all of them. But the playoffs for sure, yeah, I don't like the playoffs, but if he were to stay out and the drivers in front of him were to come in, he would get the what they call the wave around. And the wave around is during a caution period, when you come back from a caution period, go to green flag, the leader always takes the green flag, and that prevents a slower car from leading the field down to the green flag in the 1, which has happened before in IndyCar history, in Indy 500 history, and sometimes it can get dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly can. It can get a little bit dicey when you start getting that level of mix-up in. But we see more cars down pit road. That's the pole sitter, Strauss, into his box. It was Brewer a couple laps ago who made his stop, so now they're going to be a little off cycle from each other as this cycle continues. Altena ran long. The first cycle looks to be doing the same here again and might be starting to build a real tire advantage for when this next cycle of green flag pit stops conclude. He fit 5 laps later than the Strauss or Brewer machines the first time around, already about 3-4 laps longer on this stint.
Yeah, they went with their current stint, just looking at my notes here, Brewer 29 laps on this stint. So not quite into the 30s, and I think that's because they were doing a little bit more racing. But Julian, current stint is 26 laps. He did 36 on the first one. He should get into the 30s pretty comfortably.
Yeah, especially having a little bit of draft help here from Santos.
Yeah, no, Altena really looking to play the long game, and it's good to see. Some drivers are pushing all out to the wall, but I love to see the drivers that opt for that more fuel saving strategy. They play it safer. They really extend their stints, and by the end of the race, Altena might be able to save an entire fuel stint. And going back to the playoffs, I think it's funny because Americans just love playoffs for some reason. I mean, you think every single sport we have here essentially just has playoffs. I guess we just love the anticipation, this one game, it's all on the line, this one singular game. You think about the Super Bowl, you think about the NASCAR championship, it doesn't matter what you did the entire season because it's all this. How can you perform in this moment when the pressure is on? As multiple cars come down pit road, I believe.
Stout.
That's the 43 of Stouts. Nice.
To quote a famous coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Playoffs? Talking about playoffs?
That is a pretty solid impression, honestly.
Thank
That
you.
was pretty happy.
Jim Mora, yeah.
I wasn't sure what I was
Doing a game.
expecting when you were queuing that one up, but I'll give you 2 thumbs up. I was quite the fan, and I'm sure we're also going to be seeing some more cars here in this lead. Boy, another shunt off of 3. That got really dicey. These 2 cars still side by side.
That was Vogelgang and Pressy. Santos got a meatball. So remember, that's that car lap down that was fighting with Strauss and Brewer.
No, that's Lucas Santos. We got
the other Santos.
and Lucas Santos. So Lucas was up in the top 10, and that's going to be painful because he was coming from deep in the field, and that's not really going to set him back. And that might take away at this point, as we're now a quarter of the way through this thing, that might take away, there might not be enough time to get that back.
Yeah, just completely missed the apex. Just old tires, dirty air, just really understeered into the corner. Couldn't get a hold of it mid-court and just whitewashes up into the wall. And we're going to see now, this is Vogelzang. It's going to be the Brian Fiolis. Oh! Car just randomly appears and is outside. That's Michael Pressy. As that looked really, really weird.
Yeah, Pressy really tried pulling the New Garden on Award through 3. And, that was...
Wasn't Pressy.
Somebody else. Seigers, the 98 of Jaco Seigers, who really tried making a move there off of 3. And we caught him at the wrong window there. He tried getting to the outside late. You see this run, tries carrying it, and just Vogelzang didn't know he was there. And Seigers, he's going to get both contact with the wall and with the car to the inside there. So that's left and right side damage for the 98 machine.
And that's just demonstrating the closing rates of these cars. Even when you lift, there's so much downforce. There's so much pressure from the aero wash going over the cars, pushing the car down, that, when they talked about in Top Gun, where Maverick says, I'm just going to hit the brakes and let them fly on by, very similar to that. There's no air brakes being extended, but with all the downforce being produced, when you crack the throttle, it's effectively like hitting the brakes here. And so that's exactly what happened. And when you say, the guy behind him, ARCA braked into the car in front of him, he had time to react. You don't have time to react. Another thing you were talking about earlier in the race, Lucas, where you're talking about the number of football fields, really the rule of thumb about how fast an IndyCar goes is about every second they go a football field a second. So think of that. And then try to think about cracking the throttle and hitting the brake when you roll up on someone who at that point was just trying to set up probably to make their pit stop. And that's one of the things you have to be aware of. And that's also one of the things when you're in these races with other drivers, and especially in an online races, communication is key. If you can communicate the fact that you're coming to pit road and you're aware of your surroundings, then you don't run into problems like that. But that's not always the case in some of these races, and not everyone's always paying attention to the radio, and not everyone's always paying attention to chat. So when you're in the cockpit of one of these cars, not only is your head on a swivel, but you need to leave those ears open too. And sometimes, you talked about it, you kind of get sucked into tunnel vision and you get hypnotized a little bit by just going lap after lap after lap around here. And those little things kind of fall out of focus, and those are the little things that come back and bite you.
And that's what makes this race so hard to win.
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier, just the smallest sliver of focus loss, just the smallest bit of you lose what's happening, you just think about something else for a split second, your right side's in the wall, you have to, that's Katie Pollack, a big lockup into pit road. We're going to see if she got a black flag from that. She could have been caught speeding.
No black flag.
No black flag.
Right to the bitter edge there, the precipice of the black flag, and Katie avoids it. Now the things that the other part is, now I'm on pit road. Now I got to find my box, and now I got to hit my marks. And she slides in a little bit there, but is on the line, and what is happening there, where you see the car, the in and out time of the pit box, that's going to actually shave a few tenths off because they are right there at the edge, whereas others have to drive past that point. So that is actually pretty smart driving.
That looked like a disaster waiting to happen for the 42, and yet somehow was one of the quickest stops we've seen all day. Great entry, great stop, and got out pretty cleanly as well. As there's Ultimate now down pit road. the number 11 machine in his box, and that gap of how much time he's spending on each stint compared to Strauss, compared to Brewer, really starting to open up now. He ran about another 5, 6, 7 laps longer, and the 85 having some issues.
Julian off pit road now. Lal is your leader. Now remember, Lal got to lead some laps because they were part of that group that pitted early in that first caution.
This is looking back to Katie Polak's
getting to the precipice and just stepping back from it right there.
You could say that again right here as well when she gets into the box. I mean, that was about as tight as you could be in the box.
And it doesn't really matter, long as the car goes up on the jacks.
Yeah, it really.
Virtual men will move.
Yeah, it's true. It's not like real life. You don't have to worry about running over your pit crew like Schwartzman did in the last Indy 500 because they just kind of appear out of nowhere. They can move wherever they want, and of course, they're not actually there. As Amon Law comes down pit road, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but I believe
on pit road there too.
Was it the 85 of Andres Vinci that really had the trouble in pit lane?
Yeah.
You saw he kind of like hit the wall, backed up, had to come back in and turn right to hit his pit stop. That's going to lose him around 7 or 8 seconds there. So another nightmare stop, as we're seeing a lot of these drivers. And you have to remember, these brakes are going to be pretty cold coming into pit road. You're going to use a little bit of the brakes around this oval, but really not that much. And when you enter pit road, they're going to be cold. It's going to create lockups, a lot less braking force, and it's really hard to predict sometimes what they're going to do when you enter pit road. Is that's
Crocker and Tessera coming to pit road, and you make a very good point. The brake discs that they used and the rotors that they use for oval races are a vast difference in what you see them on a street or a road course. They're a lot bigger, a lot thicker. Here, the discs are just thin enough, or just thick enough to stop the car. That's all they have to do. They have to stop the car about 8 times a race. That's it. And so one of the reasons why that they're so hard to stop a car, you say, well, they stop so quickly on a road course. Different style of brakes, different type of equipment on a road course car versus an oval car. Oval car, they're so small because the reason why they're small is they reduce drag, and the reason why they're small is they reduce weight, and they only have to stop the car about 8 times a race. That's it.
Taking a look here at the replay. This is Carol Strout, 3 wide into turn 1, making a daring move, made it work.
Wow.
Got flying past Brewer and Strauss. Nicely done.
Full send move there. He had a head full of steam and wasn't willing to let it go to the waist. And now we got a side-by-side battle with Stout and Brewer as Strauss goes back and goes, I'm just going to watch you two battle it out in front of me right now. As Stout and Brewer are kind of weaving into one another a little bit, trying to crowd a little bit. And here comes Luis Nunez to the inside. He sees an opportunity, defending series champion and the defending winner of this race.
Yeah, this man
getting chaotic.
No kidding. I mean, he's been creeping into the picture every so little bit here, and he's on slightly fresher tires than Strout or Brewer. So the one machine in Nunez definitely someone to keep an eye on here. Same with the 37 to Clenworth. He's up the 5th now, and he's on the freshest tires of the cars in the top 5.
Yeah, and Jillian Altsna as well. Pitted as currently lap 5 old tires, pitted 5 laps ago, compared to your leader, Matt Brewer, pitting 16 laps ago. Remember, these people have been on the same stints the entire time. It's just the difference that Brewer and Strauss have been pushing to keep that 1 and 2 position. They've really been pushing their fuel out, pushing their tires out, and Julian Altena has extended every stint so far. He extended 5 laps the first stint, extended another 5 laps the second stint, and that's already built up to a 10-lap tire advantage just 77 laps into the race. If that 11 machine can keep this up, he's going to have a really, really good offset and probably just save an entire pit stop when everything is said and done. So Julian Altsna, Kyle Clenworth, these drivers that have pitted 6 or 7 laps ago. The other big name in the field is John Christensen, down in 8th position. And just behind him, actually, Amon Law pitted 4 laps ago, so he's even extended further than the other 3 guys I've mentioned. They're looking really, really good on fuel strategy before the end of the race here.
Let's get some business taken in real quick before we get a little bit further into this race. If you're just joining us, this is Green Flag TV's coverage of the VOR IndyCar Series coming to you from Indianapolis for the 14th running of the Indy 500 mile race presented by Dan Inch, ALZ.org, and the Alzheimer's Association. We've completed 79 of 200 laps. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The Indy 500 is presented to you by the Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality of care and support. But they can't end Alzheimer's without your help. To learn more or to donate, go to ALZ.org. The link might not be in the description, but open another tab, go to ALZ.org, and send your donation today. I want to thank ALZ.org, the Alzheimer's Association, and Dan Inch for continuing to be a big supporter of this race and this series. Back to the action at hand, lap 80. We are now 200 miles into this thing, and it's Brewer, Stout, Nunez, Strauss, and Clindy. Now, let's talk about Clindy real quick. I'm going to shout him out because I got some stats to throw at you that you might want to consider as this race gets into its later stages. Fixed Indy 500 weekend in May. Clindy was one of 2 drivers out of the thousands of people that raced the fixed Indy 500 that completed every single lap of the races he competed in. He competed in all 4 sessions, completed 200 laps each race, completed 800 total laps, one of 2 drivers to do that. He won 2 races and finished on the podium on all 4. Got to watch this guy. He is serious with this race, and I suspect as this gets into its later stages that he is going to definitely have his car in position, because that's a lot of like pre-race experience to bring into this race.
Yeah, and he's also had a really good season up to this point. Have to think back to all the way to Homestead, the first race of this season. Absolutely dominated on that Accord, and currently in the point standings, he is sitting in 4th position behind Solowage, behind Eve Tink, and behind Altna. So Kyle Klentworth has not only shown the dominance in the fixed iRacing series, but has also shown his dominance in this series so far.
The name that kind of keeps jumping out to me here of this top 10 is someone who's the guys running 8th, 9th, 10th right now. They're about 7 seconds back, but the one that keeps jumping out to me is Amon Lal, who just moved up into the 8th spot here. This guy, he's on incredibly pressure tires.
Caution on the racetrack.
Brewer. It's from the lead. Matt Brewer from up front. That car is totaled.
That is done.
And we just cut away from the lead.
What happened? He got arrow washed right up into the wall. That's an unforced error right there. Oh, and the 14 car, which has great luck here at the Speedway, involved in a wreck on the north end of the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, and that's terminal. That is a heavy bit of contact, front end completely torn up. And what a day it had been for Matt Brewer to this point. He had driven from outside the top 20 and had led a number of the early laps here. And that might be all she wrote for the 14 machine here today.
It's definitely going to be. Okay, it's time to start doing math here.
Don't worry, I've already started. Don't you worry. I've already got the number.
Yeah, if really they stop here, and I suspect everyone will stop here, this will set them up to do 3 stops to get to the end, and that's it.
Yeah, and remember, these drivers that have extended, like Julian Altna, they can go around 35 laps on a set of tires, on a set of fuel, I should say, sorry, which is very impressive. And yeah, you're right. 3 more stops will do it. They pit here at 83, and they only have 3 more after that. One at about 120, one at about the 140 mark, and another last one about the 180 mark. As you can see them all snaking into the pit lane, as that's a white. Who is that in the lead? Is that Carol Stout in the lead?
Is the leader, so he's coming to pit road now. He just hit his box. Then we got Nunez. Then we got Strauss. Then we got Clindy. Then we got Julian. Then we got Kinder. Then also you talked about those 2 cars that were a little bit further back, Lau and Christensen. Christensen and Lau are working together. So this no longer becomes a fuel mileage race, guys. Everybody needs to make 3 stops. It might turn into and we got some people having trouble on pit road. This might turn into who has a shorter final stop than everyone else, but it's no longer a fuel mileage race.
Yeah, it really shakes up everything.
It's amazing. You can already. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's amazing we can already make that determination, and we're not even to the halfway point of the race. It's no longer a fuel safe race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you think about the drivers like Altna, like Law, like Klendy, who really put a lot of good work into saving their fuel, and Sol and Crocker, they're staying out. They only, makes sense. Sol pit 12 laps ago, Crocker 9. They really don't have to take fuel here. There's not necessarily a reason to, because they probably still can make it to the end on 3 more stops after this. I'll run the numbers while you guys are talking, but it makes sense. Get the track position, and I think it's a good call.
It's also one of those situations where, like, it's not a pit strategy race anymore until it is. This caution has brought a situation where, as things currently stand, it's not the case. We could get a caution that falls at a weird time in the next pit cycle here, where all of a sudden, like, oh, well, I hadn't pit yet, but like if I can just stretch it a little bit more, maybe I get, and all of a sudden the game has completely changed again. So this is just the ebbs and flows of a race this long at a place like this. It's just one of those situations where we have a handle on it now, but all it takes is what just happened to Matt Brewer to completely throw this thing on its head, and all of a sudden we're chasing the numbers once again.
Let me just throw Sol's numbers in here real quick. So he is now 13 laps into his stint. Let's just say an average stint length here is 30 laps. If I take the math and then I add where we are in the lap count, what the difference is from about 30 laps into his stint, he's going to be pitting around lap 103. For his next stop, so that puts him at lap 133 for next stop, and then it gets him into the lap 166, which is just shy of the magic 170 mark. 170, that should be the window for your final stop. So this caution is actually helping him out a little bit. He might be able to do this at 2 more stops.
Yeah, and another way to look at this, Gary, is tricky. Another way to look at it is you take. So his last pit stop was on lap 72, that same lap that Julian Altna pitted. And if you take that number, the 200 minus 72, the amount of laps that he has left to do, divide that by 4, you get that he has to do an average lap stint now of 32 laps, which is very, very doable. You saw Altna doing 35 when he was heavy fuel saving. So 32 is very manageable for Sol. And Crocker, he's 3 laps even better in that strategy. So Crocker is even better in the green here. So this is very doable for both of these drivers.
People at home like, how are you figuring this stuff out so quickly? Green flag is out. It is Sol, Crocker, Strauss, Strout. And we got black flags already. We're going to see if these get cleared. We got side-by-side. Klendy, big send on the outside, and he's going for the lead. He's going to get a big run down the straightaway, but the problem is to the car to the inside. He got there too quickly. Now we're going to go 3 wide down the backstretch into turn 3. Who's going to play for 3x3? And Klendy now hangs it out on the outside, and he takes the point. But it's still not over yet. Crocker's still fighting to the inside, and the running plaid machine bringing with him is Sol. He's going to bring Sol with him. Stout is going to stick with Klendy. Klendy and Stout have worked together, and Stout rolls right up to the back of Klendy, and he might have a nose of going in the 1.
This is where things start getting really dicey for the cars on slightly older tires. When you have that clean air out in front, that's one thing. When you start getting back into the pack and cars who have a little bit more grip than you start making some moves, you got to really be careful if you're in the position that the 96 of Sol's in right now. Meanwhile, up front, though, Stout up for second. He's cleared. Crocker, he's got his eyes set on Clendenworth for the lead.
Yeah, even though these cars are good on fuel to the end of the race, that doesn't mean their tires are in a good position as Strauss makes a very aggressive move to the inside of Crocker, to the inside of Stout even maybe, into turn 1. He was looking for 2 cars in one go, nearly pulled it off, just couldn't. But yeah, Sol and Crocker, even though their fuel is good, their tires are much, much older than these guys. And now Strauss looking for the lead once again. It's the 37 on the 28. 37 taking the high line of that hot pink car. 28 in that dark red taking the inside. And he will take the lead with Thaddeus Strauss to the point once again.
Strauss, Clindy, Stout, Crocker. Now, Crocker, I think he's in a good spot where he just needs to, I think, be patient, just ride this thing out. He got a little screen time at the point, and now he just needs to kind of work on getting to this next stop.
He's got a little bit of draft to work with here as well, which will be beneficial to making sure he can stretch that fuel number a little bit further. Sitting in that 4th spot is Strauss, again an elevator move. He is not content with sitting behind a 37 here. He's going to take that lead back potentially going into 3. Cledworth, though, still holding on to the outside. Not going to be enough there. And now the dance is on between Strauss and Cledworth, battling for that lead spot. The 37 taking the role of Brewer from earlier in this event.
Lindy now busting to the inside of the start-finish line over the yard of bricks. Back in the day when I used to go to the racetrack as a small kid, we would sit on the front straight, and when the cars would hit the bricks, there used to be just a little bit of a lip there, and it just sounded like a shotgun blast. Pow! As every car hit that brick. Now it's kind of been kind of smoothed out and everything, but it always used to be added to the ambiance of Indianapolis. Whenever those cars hit the yard of bricks, you would hear it.
Yeah, I wish that sound was still going as I've been there, but unfortunately I didn't get to experience because that sounds absolutely crazy in the way you're describing it. Pow, 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 every single time that a car goes down that last remaining row of bricks. And yeah, I wonder if Strauss and Cledworth are going to start playing the game now. So yeah, Alex, as you kind of talked about, that 37 taking the role of Matt Brewer, who's no longer in this race. And when the first and second position car, when they have that drafting, when they're able to do it to the max effectiveness, not only does it speed up the entire line of cars as Strauss.
Blinking. That's not good.
Wow. Yeah, he's got to be careful with his internet connection there. We hope that it's not the same thing that we saw happen to earlier. I believe it was Aiden Milberg, remember. We saw him blink. The next second he was in the wall. So we're going to hope that his connection is stable and that we can keep Strauss in this race, as he's been leading a lot of this race and definitely has the most laps led so far.
I was getting ready to talk about Aiden before he went to the wall back at lap 5. I was getting ready to say he's kind of thrown the luck of the green car out the window, but I guess not.
Certainly doesn't seem like it. That one did not hold up well, and there's probably a reason you don't see a ton of green cars up here in the top 10 as they run. If you are a superstitious person when it comes to these events, but also with the grandeur of an Indy 500, how can you not be even just a little bit superstitious with the amount of history and tragedy?
You don't have to look. You don't have to look back at the bad luck. Oh, come on!
That's a huge one.
That was Katie, not Katie Pollock. That was Violas. Big
the 98 of Seegers absolutely devastated as well. Far and, 5, 6 cars.
One of the leader energy cars is in it as well.
There was Lucas Santos.
Oh, he just washes up into him. Wait, no, that's not
it. So, yeah. It's off of 4 here.
Okay.
Santos get a little bit of an aero wash. They gave each other room, but they just kind of ran out of room. And then the whole host of cars just ran into the zone right behind them. Just no place to go, no time to react.
If we have an opportunity, I'd love to see the onboard of the 98 of Jaco Seegers. He got really torn up in that just after this.
Oh, really awkward. It's almost like Fiolas bounces off the wall a little bit. It's like Santos comes up, gives Fiolas slight contact, and Fiolas bounces off the wall back into him. Looks like a racing incident there to me.
Actually avoided it. He just hit the gore point attenuator at the end of pit road.
This is tough. You avoid an incident just to get caught up.
But this is how fast you're moving. Just no time to react. So he sees it. He goes low, but then he gets to the narrowest point of the racetrack right here, and then it
just cleaved that left front clean off the race car.
And that would have been, well, luckily this is the sim, because that was a real hit. That would have been pretty catastrophic, because that would have literally shaved the side of the car off.
Yeah. You're talking about leg damage, bone damage.
Okay, I thought I saw Clindy falling through the order, but...
yeah, we have some takers for pit road is what it was.
Oh, a lot of takers, yeah.
Okay, that's what I saw. Yeah, he came to pit road. I thought maybe he blinked out, but nope.
And now, guys, this is where I think we talk about there's an over-under I've been playing in my head that I haven't quite mentioned yet, but over-under 16.5 finishers in this race. I'll start with Alex, and we'll get Gary. What are you guys thinking, Alex? What are you guys thinking?
Well, at least as things sit right now, I do believe there's somewhere between, depending on if some of these cars can get that damage repaired or not for some of those who may have been lesser involved, somewhere in the mid-20s of cars still running in this event as they go. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna take the over. I think they've been running pretty cleanly, and that's the first real sort of major incident we've seen. We've seen a couple of smaller ones with one car, maybe two. That was the first true wreck that's taken a couple cars out. I think we'll have quite a few cars who still finish this thing.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to that. Look, I've been to some real Indy 500s where less than 10 cars have finished. I've watched real IndyCar races, 500-mile races. The 86 Michigan 500 comes to mind. 8 cars only finished that race. Over 30 cars started that race. So real IndyCar races these days, there's a lot more reliability in the engines. I mean, you don't see a blown engine very often, but you go back to the 70s, the 80s, and the mid-90s, engine grenades all the time. And that would always reduce the numbers. But we don't have that problem in iRacing, and the racecraft of these drivers have been pretty darn good today. I would expect more than half the field to definitely make it home. And if we end it with more than 20 still running, I would say that's pretty good. I think that everybody here could probably do it, and we are at the halfway point, just 5 laps short.
All right, I'll be the pessimist of the group. I'm going to take the under. I think that Indy just provides chaos, and, iRacing, has the netcode as always, and these drivers, I'll tell you what, they love to get aggressive towards the end of the race, and I'm not too sure that we're going to get more than half of the people that started this race to finish this race. And I think I'll take the under on this account for that 16.5 number that I posed up. But I would love, I of course, I'm hoping that, we have everyone finishing this race, or I should say the 23 remaining drivers. I would love to see all 23 of them finish this race, but, just don't see it happening. Just so many freak accidents can occur when you're going a football field a second.
I also just want to highlight while we have a second real quick.
Yeah.
Of the current top 5, 3 of them started 29th or deeper in the field.
Wow.
Stout was 29th, Crocker started 30th, and Soul started 31st. He's currently scored 5th. And even Luis Nunez, who, not back that far, still started 24th. It's the pole sitter and then 4 cars who started deeper than 24th here for this restart.
Here comes the restart for the Indy 500, presented to you by Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org at Dan Inch. And we are already fanning out as we're a little accordion style here on this restart. Make sure to donate to ALZ.org either during or after the day's race to help with Alzheimer research and support of caregivers. Into the south end, into the north end of the south end of the racetrack. Excuse me. When we go through the short chute, now we go up through turn 2. We're going through. We're going to separate two parts of the Brickyard Crossing golf course, and now we got Stout looking to the inside with a full head of steam. Kinder actually backed off a little bit there. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, about 3 or 4 rows deep behind these 5.
And Kinder now looking for the inside of Crocker Jr., remember, who's on older tires than him, much older tires, but Nunez in front of him, giving him a lot of dirty air, not able to get the move done. And Crocker now actually looking on the outside of Nunez. He's going to get the move done. So Crocker Jr., who's on 9-lap older tires than the people who's driving against, puts himself into that final podium position. He's looking for more, guys. Alex, look at this. Stout is having to play very, very defensive as Crocker Jr., the rookie in the field, the only rookie running in this top 7, getting really, really racy as we're approaching the halfway mark.
It surprises me a little bit. He is working on a tire deficit of about 9 laps to the rest of this top 7 right now, but he's decided it's time to go and try to make something happen. Sebastian Kinder, though, going to try to work. He's going to work his way back to the outside, potentially see if he can get back past the 25. Got ourselves a little bit of slicing and dicing here in this top 10 as we see a couple of cars make a big move out of line. Amon Lal way down the racetrack. As Strout back to the front.
Here we go. Oh, and someone had to blink a little bit there. The car on the high side, that is Pollock up into the wall, made contact. We're going to get we're going to get funneled up behind Katie right now. That could have got a lot worse.
Yeah, north, south, east, west. You just want to be going the right way. That's what I'll tell you, Gary. Just try to make sure that you keep the car going the same way all the other cars are going. Oh, it's nearly contact into one. That was too close.
Oh, Gretsch tried to send it to the inside. Polak has a black flag. Oh, and we got contact going down the back straight.
The 42, and I believe that's the 27 of Gretsch, the two of them. Gloves are off. We've got a heavyweight fight right now through 3 and 4.
Okay, so we've reached incident limit for Polak. Polak's going to come to pit road and get a drive-through. Not out of it, but just out of this pack right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely heartbreaking, though, for Katie Polak, because that's going to put her many seconds down. And remember, she's going to have no draft, nobody to work with there. So if this green flag stint continues, she'll also be put a lap down eventually. As now Kinder looking for second place, looking for the lead. That's 2 and 1, and Sebastian Kinder for the first time this race to the point.
97's been fast. We haven't seen race leading pace yet up now until literally this moment. We're hitting the halfway mark and now battling for the lead. Sebastian Kinder not going to get credit for leading that lap though, because Strauss got back on the inside. So the 97 settles back into second, but Sutton tells me that Kinder's ready to turn up the wick a little bit.
Well, remember, they're teammates, so that right now they're still friendly with one another. I don't know how friendly they are, but they are still friendly to a point. I would imagine the gloves are really going to come off inside the last 10 laps. But I would imagine if I'm working with my teammate here and I'm in their situation, I'm going to work with my teammate and I'm going to try to lock out Stout. I do not want Stout anywhere near my battle up here with my teammate. I want to try to work together with my teammate, and I'm not going to I would even tell my teammate to go lower on the racetrack and not give any aid to Stout. But right now, Stout's getting aid from Kinder in the draft. But I would say let's do our own thing and let's try to break away from the top 3. But they also can see in this, and if they look in their relatives and if they're paying attention, is Crocker's there. And if they could maybe get Crocker in front of Stout, and with Crocker with older tires, maybe could slow Stout down some, and maybe Kinder and Strauss can pull away.
Yeah, that's a lot of thinking. That's a lot of mind games that Gary's got going on over there.
I don't say team orders go on, but there's still, we talk about all this stuff in the car. Yeah, talk about all this stuff.
Wow. That's pretty crazy to hear, because I do have a pretty big team. Alex can attest to this. I do have a pretty big team over here at Ball State University, and we do kind of get pretty elaborative with some of our plans. We made a joke that if we ever qualify 1, 2, 3, 4, we did qualify 1, 2, 3, 4 at Sebring in the IndyCar, that we should just go 4 wide and just drive around the track at 20 miles an hour. And what are they going to do? No one can get around us, With 4 cars covering the track, there's really nowhere anyone can go. And looks like Ball State will just get to drive 20 miles an hour for an entire race length and we win.
You laugh about that, but, there was times in VOR where I would be second and I would have a teammate up in first and we'd be coming to a restart and I would just say, count it down and we go on your count. And we would put 5 or 6 tenths on the guy in third place even before getting to turn 1. So I have no problem with teams working together over comms. Some people don't like it. I think it's there's strength in numbers. And right now, strength in numbers up at the point right now. But I will say Altena Autosport is getting in the neighborhood because we got Altena, Christensen, and Law in 6th, 7th, and 10th.
Yeah, and you can even imagine going to stock cars. You have a lead if one of your teammates in a NASCAR race is leading the race and another one of your guys is starting on the outside, many rows back. What we've done before is you have the leader count him down, and as soon as he goes, everybody else is allowed to go. You're sitting in probably like 14th on the outside line. You go as soon as he goes, and guess what? You get a lot of positions just by immediately going high and just driving around everybody. So team orders, especially on restarts. Yeah.
Synchronized really driving. It's not against the rules. It might sound shady, but it's not. And so we got Crocker is now around Stout. So just what I was talking about. Now Crocker moving forward. Now he is 30 laps into his stint, and we expect him to pit any time now in the next 10 laps.
Yeah, he's in that he's in the portion of the window where it would start to make sense, although I think he's probably going to try to run this thing as far as he can, get as far aligned with the people on slightly fresher tires as he can. He's done a great job to hold track position here despite the older tires, and now he just needs to break this thing in when everyone else is going to, and if he can't go that far, get as close as to when they're going to pit as possible. The 25, though, with a great turn of fortune, really sticking to that strategy to stay out on the older tires. Same deal with Daniel Soul in the 96. He's dropped back to 10th, but both of them have gained a lot of track position with that caution falling at a convenient time for the both of them.
Gotta love it when the cautions go your way.
Yeah, the one thing, though, I will say about the 25 is when he pits here, guys, he's not going to have anybody to draft with. He's going to be turning laps by himself at the Brickyard, which is very inefficient and not a quick way to get around the track. So he is good on fuel, yes, but remember, he's going to lose a lot of time just because after he pits, he'll be alone and not have anybody to play the game with.
I think if they can find a way to swing it, the 96 and the 25 should really look at trying to come down pit road at the same time. They're within 3 laps of each other on tires, but also not sure with that gap being 3rd to 10th right now, how quickly they'll get aligned, but it'd certainly be better than stopping by themselves. You see Strauss and Kinder swap that lead again. They've done a really good job at making sure the other car has been able to get some draft about halfway around this speedway, and even though they're leading, they're doing about as much as you can, quote, fuel save here from the lead of Indy.
We're in the period of the race, too, that I call the dog days of the race, which is kind of lap 75 to lap 150, 175, somewhere in there. Oh, Kinder! Yeah, look, Kinder, you want to take the wall out on a date before you kiss it, and that was a kiss that might have been unadvised, and he about got up there really close off of 3. But these guys right now are just really turning laps and wanting to make this race just kind of. All we're really racing to is to the next stop. That's what we're doing, racing to the next stop. That's why we don't see a lot of racing for positions right now. Although Lal is going to take a shot at Vogelzang down the backstretch. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, okay, so Lal, I think, backs off there, and Lal is going to. Yeah, we're going to watch a replay of getting a little close there. Got really close, though.
Yeah, Kinder, I was able to catch it. I mean, really, really aggressive move into 3. Made it work. It just, had a really weird snap on the exit there as the people at home were able to see.
Christensen.
Yeah, here we go. I believe that's the 98 of Jaco Seegers, no?
That's Vogelzang.
Vogelzang, yes. Okay, they all.
Vogelzang,
can we stop getting blue cars? Oh my God! There's so many blue cars in this field.
I will say this with the Altena Auto Sports cars: that they are unique and they are uniquely colored. But there are some cars out here that are very, very similar. Oh, sends it to the inside. Gritch goes to 10th spot.
There's a nice pass there from Gretsch. He's back to the top 10. You know, for the early trouble that we saw the 27 run into, as you see Soul now to come into pit road, the 96, one of those 2 cars who stayed out earlier. But going back to Gretsch, we saw him get into some trouble early on in this race. He's rebounded really nicely, though. Gotten back into the top 10 and very much in the hunt with 90 left.
Saul did not have as much luck up at the front as Crocker did. So Crocker, we expect Crocker now to come to pit road very, very shortly. He has 36 laps into this stint. So he is saved and a ton of fuel, but he's also had some caution laps up there.
All right, and so for some clarification, in case people at home might also have trouble with these dark blue cars, the 2 I'm getting confused are Vogelzang and Jaco Seegers. So Seegers is dark blue with pink wing mirrors. With pink mirrors, I should say, sorry. And Vogelzang is dark blue with pink front wing. So that's why I was getting him so confused. So I'm looking at the blue and pink, and you can see that's the dark blue car of Vogelzang. You can see the edges of that front wing are both pink. And if we are able to see the 98 of Jaco Seegers, it's that same dark blue color, except it's the front mirrors that are that pink color. So just very easy to get confused, but hopefully that should help some people at home there.
And Jaco's also missing a left front.
Oh, yeah. So Seeger's car, he's missing more than just a mirror, but Yeah, that pink mirror is completely off the car, as you can see down pit road again, as we're looking at this battle between Kinder and Strauss. Battle for the lead, and Crocker Jr. staying out now. 38 laps into his stint, may I add.
40 laps is 100 miles. So if he could stay out for 100 miles for a fifth of the race without a pit stop, that is pretty amazing right there. Also involved in the battle, but just out of the picture, but is within the window to help Strauss or hurt Strauss, is Daniel Soul, who just came to pit road. He is up the road by 1.5 seconds, and here comes Crocker. So he went just shy of 100 miles on that entire fuel stint. That was pretty good. But up in front of Strauss is Soul, now 1.2 seconds. He is within that draft envelope that he could begin to feel the pull down the straightaways, but getting that pull is the benefit. Going through the turns and getting the aero wash is the negative outcome of getting to a car that's in front of you that close.
This draft has really also stretched out the advantage for Strauss over Kinder. It's half a second now after those two kept swapping positions back and forth. So this is that part of the window for the cars who were not named, Crocker or Soul. They put about 30 laps on. So this is when the cars are going to start thinking about coming down pit road. Have to imagine Strauss and Kinder will be some of the first of that group. They were leading laps, which means they were burning the most fuel, even with trading back and forth. They're not going to be able to run as long as, say, someone like Nunez or Altina, who was a little deeper in the pack and was just able to kind of stay in that draft pocket. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how this will sort out, because a lot of these cars they're all on the same fuel and tires now. This will be the first time they had the opportunity to get on different strategies again since that caution.
Now we've seen Strauss. He has made it to the attenuator of Soul. Now Soul is on brand new tires, so he's going to have a lot of pace, but Strauss, a little bit lighter, is going to get a run on him now and is going to pass him going into one, and that's going to put him now a buffer between Strauss and his teammate Kinder, who's back in second.
Yeah, the Daniel Soul, you talked about it. He, remember, was one of those cars that stayed out and, put himself in really good position with that last caution. He is good on fuel, or I shouldn't say good on fuel, but he is able to make it with two more.
He's pitting now. We just heard over the radio, Strauss coming down pit road this time. Got to imagine a lot of the top 10 might come with him here. At least Kinder's going to. I don't know about anybody else, but the top two cars for a while of that stint, they've both made their stops here. And that looks like they'll have one taker a little deeper in the pack there.
Yeah, now your top six now. It's Amon Law to Carroll Stout. They are all 33 laps deep into their stint now, so they'll probably be coming down pit road very, very shortly. And Marshall Crocker Jr. will be happy to hear that, because he's just waiting for other people to pit, other people to draft off, because currently he is just sitting 2 seconds back about from Katie Polak, just kind of in the really awkward spot in no man's land. So he's really just waiting for someone else to pit with him to get some drafts so he doesn't lose too much time on the racetrack. But here we go. This is Carroll Stout. Once again, I believe that's a lap car he's passing up. That's once again that 96 of Daniel Soul. Yep. And Luis Nunez just behind.
Yeah, Nunez reeling him in. Nunez has been very patient through the course of this race. That is, who's coming off of pit road? That is Tessera coming off of pit road on the backstretch. He's going to give a little bit of a draft to Christensen. Christensen gets on by, going into 3. Now Christensen will rejoin the battle with Altina. Christensen now in the 4th spot, the 44 in the 4th. Say hi to 44 Nation if you're watching. Good to have you here. Nunez, Stout, Altina, Christensen, Vogelzang, your top 5. And we are now in the middle of another pit stop round. Here comes Law. Law wants to get by Vogelzang and join his teammates. Okay, that's he wanted to clear him, but he wasn't quite clear, but he eventually cleared himself.
Yeah, really aggressive move there from Law. I mean, you love to see it. Sometimes it's what you have to do. And now this is Nunez on Stout. This is for the lead. That lap car is no longer in this battle. You can see him just behind. But Nunez now, remember, he won the first heat at the road course here. He was our championship winner last season, and now he's to the point here at the Brickyard, but not for long, because he's going to play the game with Stout, and they're going to be handing that position back and forth now.
Yeah, the battle is on right now between Carol Stout and Luis Nunez. These two cars going to go back and forth. Altena just behind them as well. Those Altena Autosport cars now 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Christensen and Law into the mix as well. Then you go back to Vogelsang, Gretsch, Klendworth, so the points leader, Kostex all the way, and then Vince, who's back in that 10th spot. It's been a bit of a quiet night so far for the 95, the points leader, Soloway. He was kind of stuck in the middle of the field for a good bit of this race. He's up to 9th now, but he came down pit road at the same time that Klendworth did. So when these cars pit in just a second, as we're seeing a few of them making that stop, he'll cycle to that lead group with the 37, and maybe that's the clean air that the 95 needs to really take off here.
Now watching now pit stops occurring. And it should be pointed out, in the real Indy 500, only 2 drivers. The farthest back that any winner has come from in the Indy 500, the real one, has been 28th starting spot. Louis Meyer won from back there, one of his wins. And Ray Haroon in the inaugural Indy 500 won from 28th. Never worse than 28th has a winner ever come at Indianapolis. Now, we have seen in sim races, people come back from further than that. Over in the Elite Racing League, the Warriors for Peace Indycar series that I helped commentate for, we had a car come back from further than 28th to win the Indy 500 last May, and a caution-free Indy 500 at that. So we have seen it happen there before, and we've also seen Adriano Pinero, also in the Elite Racing League, win from 33rd at Pocono in a 39-car race to win the race there. So it is possible. Oh, we have a battle up at the front here is Stout and Strauss. And also involved here is Kinder, and they are dicing it up. And Stout just kind of slid across the nose of Kinder, or Strauss there, and about had an incident going into turn 3.
Yeah, they're currently running 17th, 18th, 19th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. But these are essentially our net leaders. These are the people that just came down pit road.
Look at this, Christensen's right with them.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really dicey. Even though it's for 15th position, they know that this is for the effective lead once the pit stops are all said and done. So they're going to be fighting really, really hard on these fresh tires here.
Taking a look at this battle, the pole sitter Strauss trying to lead Kinder into turn 1. Not a whole lot of room between them, but they're going to get this thing single file as they go through here. This lead pack right now is actually, I think they've netted out behind the 11 of Altena.
Yeah, you're right.
Am I reading that right? Really quick stop for Altena. And there he is, actually. Speaking of, Altena right into this battle had a quicker stop, even though he was further back. And he's inserted right into the middle of this. And they're all chasing Luis Nunez now, the one with a fantastic stop, and he's ahead of this entire bunch.
We are all together like it's the start of the race. You just throw a blanket over this entire group. That is Nunez. We got Kinder. We got Stout. We got Altena. We got Christensen. We got Strauss in there as well. Just throw a blanket over them. This is effectively for the race lead. Now up front, let's give some love to Kyle Gretsch. He is your leader. He's getting some more laps led in here. Right behind him is Clindy, just hanging out. And now here's our points leader in 3rd spot. If these guys catch a caution right now, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, now this alternate strategy is starting to form up a little bit, Lucas. And even though, everything got kind of netted back to 0 at that lap 84 caution, green flag pit stops always give the opportunity for the strategy game to sort of creep back in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were saying it perfectly. These top 8 guys now, Kyle Gretsch all the way down to Anthony Heitzema, they are 31 laps into their stint now. So they have been able to extend. They pitted a little bit later than the guys that we've been talking about. The guys like Altena, like Stout, like Nunez, those guys. They pitted about 10 laps later than them, and they're really doing well to extend it. And yeah, if a caution comes out right now, Klendworth and Solowaj currently sitting, I believe, 4th and 1st, respectively, in the point standings, are going to get a huge break, as once again for 15th, they are fighting hard for it.
The Just hitting this 75 laps to go marker
Wait,
here.
two
We're
more
seeing
cars have joined this battle. Sorry.
Yeah, getting a couple other cars to join in. I believe that is Vogelsong back there as well with Lal. So now about an 8-car little pack here that could cycle to the front once the leaders come down pit road. Kinder makes the move around Strauss back to the lead, and you know, it's worth noting, even though they're all grouped up, Kinder and Strauss, 5-lap older tires. That's 5 more laps of fuel burned compared to Luis Nunez. The one car, you know, in the slightly better spot there of these three. However, Strauss and Kinder have just had some breakneck pace since the drop of the green flag today.
Yeah, they started from the front, and they have been at the front all day. Right now, we look at the leaders, though. Gretsch at 26 spots improved. Clindy 16, Solwedge 13. Mason Mitchum is in 4th. Shout him out. He's up 6 spots. Presley in 5th spot, up 12. Coker in 6th spot, up 14. A lot of these names that I'm talking about are now 34 laps into their run. So this is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And 8th, and then we are looking at this battle between Strauss and Kinder for 9th and 10th. They will be effectively your net leader when everybody comes in front of them for their next stop. Then after that, we're looking about another 30 or so laps from there, and then really final stops we suspect around lap 170 as always. And then after that, as Rick Mears says, then it's really time to go racing in the closing stages. Doesn't matter where you are for lap 1. Doesn't matter where you are for lap 25. Doesn't matter where you are for lap 100. It just matters where you are for lap 199 and 200.
Also, one thing I want to shout out real quick, you know, because we're talking about how we get that far into the race. You know, obviously we've seen a lot of pit stops already unfold here today to get to that magical lap 200. Still about 72 laps away from that, but we've got quite a mix of cars as far as how often cars have come down pit road. If you want to get a sense of how often cars are coming down pit road, some cars like Daniel Sol, who we saw up front earlier, he's only made 3 stops to this point. Meanwhile, folks like Hitsama, who was just up in the top 8 before he came down pit road, I believe this is his 8th trip down pit lane here for the 22 machine. So rather varied in the field about the optimal strategy here today when you're trying to pit.
I think a lot of the guys, if they certainly have a high number, probably take into account that a lot of those guys might have stopped. Here comes Clindy now, our leader, coming to pit road. A lot of stopped early on that first stop, and so they're probably like more plus 1 or more on the rest of the group because they kind of stopped in that earlier window. Here comes Coker on pit road as well. So now this is going to start turning the lead back over to that lead group we've been talking about. But Clindy now on his 5th stop, Coker on his 6th stop, Strauss with 4, Kinder with 4, Nunez with 4, Stout with 4, Altena with 4, all the way down to Lal. Lal came in a little bit earlier on that first stop. He's at 5.
Now, one thing interesting I want to note here, guys, is Clenworth just did a 37-lap stint. And with 70 to go, him pitting right now, he might be able to do the rest of this race on one more stop only. Him and, I believe, Shane Kosher, both him and Clenworth, they might be able to do this race on one more stop. And remember, these guys have 2 more stops.
Those two
so don't count out Clendy.
Yeah, those two might be working with one another as well. They are kind of cooperative in terms of some leagues and teams they work with. So it's possible that they might be in comms together, and that would make sense why both came to pit road at that same time.
Yeah, and if they're able to extend, and if they're able to do this race on one more pit stop, that really throws a wrench into Kinder and Strauss's and Nunez's plans here. You know, it looks like this is our effective 1, 2, 3, but they definitely have 2 more pit stops left before this race ends. And Kosher and Clenworth, they probably can do it on one more pit stop only. And they're currently sitting in 12th. I can't see where Kosher is in 12th and 18th. Clenworth is only 6 seconds behind the leader. That is not a big enough gap for Kinder, Strauss, and Nunez for them not to be worried about them, essentially. They have to be worried about this one stop that Clenworth is going to be on now, or Clenworth just might win this race just with a huge fuel strategy race.
Don't sleep yet on Kyle Gretsch, the car who's at the tail end of this pack, making a move on Lull for 8th here. That 27 car, he's only been on these tires for 4 laps. He's barely been out there longer than Klendworth. It's only about a 2-lap difference. So if Klendworth is good to maybe make it a 1 more stop, there's a non-zero possibility that the 27 could as well. And he's in this lead pack. He's 5 seconds clear at the moment of Kyle Klendworth. So this is where things start getting really, really interesting, because there's, even in this lead pack, there are cars who may not be able to go, 1 stop. That's most of this group, we believe. But I think the 27 has an outside chance of doing it. And if that's the case, he's got a massive edge on everyone else he's racing in this pack right now.
And as we've been liking to say, to add to your point, he doesn't have to race these guys hard. He doesn't have to race them hard at all. The easiest passes are made when their car in front of you has to go to pit road. He just has to ride this thing out, and he inherits.
It's a very admirable place to be right now if you're at the 27. This is, when you get this deep into the race, you're about 2/3 of the way in. This is the kind of scenario you want to find yourself in. Either you want to be at the point with the fastest car, or you want to be the guy who has to come down pit road the fewest amount of times remaining. And that 27 might just be it. If not, the 37 to Klendworth might just be that car as well.
I just need to show patience. Again, at this point in the race, we're in those dog day laps, just clicking them off. You got to stay focused. The last thing you want to do is lose focus and let these cars. You follow that car too closely in front of you, and you follow closely in their tire tracks, and they go up into the wall, and the next thing you know, you're up into the wall. You just got to you got to stay alert enough and keep your head on a swivel and keep your eye on the relative, and make sure that you're hitting your numbers, hitting your strategy, and just getting to that next stop, and then it's time to go racing. And for a couple of these drivers, that next stop is the last stop, and that next stop and last stop is the one where they will finally, the gloves will come off, and they will go racing for the last quarter of this race.
Yeah, and there are 8 drivers that we got to keep our eye on for maybe being able to make the rest of this race on 1 stop. That is the 27 of Gretsch, the 37 of Klendworth, the 95 of Kostek Solowaj, the 3 of Mason Mitchum, the 78 of Sebastian Dufresne, the 32 of Shane Kosher, the 94 of Nicholas Prezi, and finally the 22 of Anthony Heitzema. All 8 of those drivers, all 8 of those cars, I'm looking at to maybe make the rest of this race on 1 stop only, whereas the other 15 guys definitely have at least 2 more stops. So if this race stays green, I'm looking at those 8 numbers to be the top 8 to finish this race out.
Well, that's both the blessing and the curse of a race like this. You feel like you can math it out to the nth degree. We feel pretty confident in who's in a good spot right now. But at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and race, and one errant twitch of the wheel could completely shake this race on its head. Is someone
the stretch, and I'm not sure who that was, but they were in a bit of trouble, and I think they caught it.
I think it was Lull. I think it was Amon Lull who got way down the track. I mean, he got down almost to the infield grass. I'm not entirely sure if it was just because he was trying to make a move or what.
Not sure who it was. I thought it was a red car.
I could be wrong on that. Might have been, who's this car after? It might have been Mason Mitchum.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Mason Mitchum in the 3. Who got way down there. He was at the tail end of the line, just the wrong line.
I'm not sure. That could have been a situation that sometimes you get a snap loose off the corner on corner exit, and that sometimes is an indicator that you got a little bit too much weight jacker in the thing. Oh, no, he hit the wall. Okay, all right. So, no, not enough weight jacker in the thing, if that's the case. So, in the wall, hopefully he's not damaged entirely. Another thing you hate to do is you hate to do all the prepping for a 500-mile race and not only losing the race at lap 5, but now you're halfway or more than halfway into this thing. Now you're just like, man, I want to complete 200 laps, 500 miles, and you get all this time into it, and you don't even get to finish that either.
Yeah, that is one of the worst feelings. Getting taken out early is absolutely brutal, but if you get this far and then it's a mental error that takes you out of the race, that's got to be an incredibly sickening feeling as well. You don't have anyone to blame but yourself. Luckily for Mitchum, still in this race. That car is still in one piece, moving the right direction. Actually just got around Seoul, so he's up to 16th now. We still have about 23 cars on the racetrack, 22 on the lead lap. Here with just over 60 laps to go, as Gretsch now maybe looking to take a spot from Christensen in the 2.
And the only reason he would need to feel like he needs to pass Christensen is if he feels like the guys in front of him are starting to get away. And maybe at that point, when they were so closely tied together, I would have stayed right there. But maybe he sees that the racing is starting to get a little bit more spread out up front, and maybe he wants to stay up there, and that's when you start maybe making some moves. But also, keep in mind, he's still on a strategy that might put him in the driver's seat here. Don't panic. Just because you do see the guys getting away from you, you still have another 60 laps here to go. There's still plenty of time.
And those cars in front of them, everyone here needs to stop once. We believe that just about everyone not named Kyle Gretsch will have to stop twice. Not entirely sold on the 27, not having to pit twice, but of this group, he's by far the closest to being only a one-stopper to the end of this thing. Is now he gets to the inside of Christensen, and he'll take that spot. He's up to 7th. And I think these are just coming as, the opportunities come up, Gary. It just looks like Gretsch is letting him fall into his lap, and when the pass is available to be made, he takes it. Otherwise, he is more than content hanging in this top 10 group.
Hey, once again, if you're just joining us, you are watching Velocity Online Racing coverage and also Green Flags TV coverage of round 5 of 9 of the VOR Indycar Series, coming to you from Indianapolis for the 14th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race presented by Dan Inch with ALZ.org and the Alzheimer's Association. We're currently Strauss, who started up front all day today, is still your leader right now. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't mess up on the next race. The next race for us will be here Saturday, October 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time as the series moves to Texas Motor Speedway for the 8th time in league history. Julian kind of likes that place. Again, it's 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Green Flag TV. Don't miss it.
Yeah, and then don't forget, later tonight we have an SRA race at 8 p.m. If you like stock cars, if you like Gen 4, if you like short tracks, we got some Gen 4 racing at Dover Motor Speedway, so make sure you tune into that. I will be on that cast as well. That'll be Howie joining me for that one. So that's going to be a great race here on the same channel at 8 p.m. But no more of that, because right now we have Strauss and Kinder, the two Team Watson Racing teammates, handing back the lead back and forth as they're playing the game together very effectively and keeping Nunez behind in that 3rd position.
They've been really good about trying to keep that fuel number in mind, but there's also only so much you can save when you're leading the pack, and that's where things get a little tricky. As Daniel Soul down pit road, the 96, who's been stretching those stints the longest of anybody here today. He only goes 32 laps that time, but the 96 down for his 4th stop of the day.
Kind of blinking there in Strauss. Update on the points, and again, we're talking Indianapolis, so really points don't matter. It's all about the dub here. But coming out of it, it is a points race. Points will get awarded. So coming out of this race, somebody we might have a new leader. We don't know. Caustic Solwich comes into the race 7 points over Tink. And then 21 points over Julian. Julian's sitting pretty good right now to maybe close that points gap a little bit more after the end of this race if he can finish right there. Clindy in 4th, Sebastian Kinder in 5th, Lal in 6th, Dufresne in 7th, tied with Pim Van Gastel, who's not in the lineup today. Vince in 8th or 9th, depending on how you want to look at it, and Jesper Orman also not in the lineup in 10th. So that is your top 10 in points coming into today. We will update you with the points going into the next race. But again, Indianapolis, points really don't matter here. It's like, look who's talking. It's a game show where points are awarded, but points really don't matter. That's Indianapolis. Points are awarded, but points really don't matter. But we got our leaders coming to pit road for a scheduled stop.
Rouse is down, Kinder is down, and both of them
28 laps for each one.
Yeah, I think they're going to probably try to spread this last one fairly evenly. They could have probably gone a few more laps, but
Crocker on pit road too, 31 laps in. So that was believe it or not, we feel like we just kind of saw him stop not too long ago. But this is his next to last stop as well. This will get everybody into that 170 range.
Now the question mark to me is, Stout, Nunez, Altena, all, mid-20s, so they can go about another 5 laps or so as Kinder gets around Strauss on pit exit there, the 97. Nice little job there, good stop, gets away cleanly. And for these cars who can still go a few more laps.
Kinder, and the reason why for that is Kinder was 4/10 quicker in the box.
That's a huge stop there for the 97 team.
Yeah.
Yeah, now this is their driver's second to last pit stop. So we talked about those drivers, 15 of them have to make 2 more stops, 8 of them have to make 1 more stop. And that was a lot of those guys that had to make the 2 more stops. That was a lot of them coming down to pit lane. Of course, now Stout and Nunez will be fighting for the lead of this race once again. Both of them have led some laps here today. I believe Nunez will just take the tick on that one. Get that point for leading that one. That was very, very close at the line. But yeah, so him, Altena, and Stout, those 3 drivers, they're going to have to come down momentarily, whether they want to extend this stint out to maybe, in case a caution comes out, pit under the caution, or if they want to split it in thirds like the other guys did for the tires. Don't want to waste out your tire advantage. Don't want to drive on old tires if you don't have to. There's 2 ways to look at it. You take the fresher tires when you can. Don't over push on old tires, or you stay out in case the caution comes out. Either works. What are you thinking about it, Alex?
Well, I was going to say, to that point, regardless of where they sit, I know the guy sitting in 4th right now would definitely vote for them to stretch this thing as long as possible. I have no doubt that Kyle Gretsch would love for these guys to run long, let him sit in the draft longer, helps him get to that fuel number better, because if the top 3 were to say pit this time by, all of a sudden he would cycle to the front, he's going to have to punch through that air, burn more fuel, and that would make it harder for him to make this thing on one stop. So right now, the 27, he's in a good spot, but he's probably just hoping that these 3 cars in front of him try to run long as well.
All right, so we continue to go through this round of pit stops. Nunez 28 laps in, Stout 29, Altena 27, Gretsch 21. So if he can go another 10 plus and get into the 60s and closer to 170s, I don't think he can do another 40. I don't think he can do another 20 to do another kind of a near 40 lap stint, but he's going to get in the neighborhood. He might have a splash at the end. He might actually be wanting a caution at some point in this final stint or next 2 stints to help him out. He's at 21, Vogelsang 27, Christensen 28, Lal 27, Vince at 28, Klindy only at 19, Solwich at 20.
Yeah, looking at the numbers again, Gresh is kind of close to the mark. I mean, he might actually not have enough. He's currently on lap 22, as you said, and we're only at 50 to go. Even if he extends this stint 15 more laps to lap 37 of a stint, which is not easy at all, that still puts him at 35 to go, which is not an easy number to hit at all. So Gresh is really, really on the line here, on the limit. The cars who have a bit, or I should say the car
down pit road.
Yeah, and Christensen now comes down pit road as well, so that's another one of those drivers that, okay, no reason to burn out my tires, driving no tires. Let's just come down pit road. Get a new
I'm going to have to stop again, so let's get it over with now.
Mm-hmm.
To the point you were making earlier, yeah, it's going to be a tough sell for those guys to try to make it on the one stop. Gretsch, it's a toss up. If you're Clenworth, you're a little bit closer. You're only on lap 21 of this stint. Reasonably, you can get this thing. Hopefully, if you could stretch it another 15 laps, you say, gets you to about a similar stint, about 35-35. Yeah. It's a little more doable than 37-35 or 36-36, but it's still a tall order, especially because if you want to go out there and win this race, at some point you're going to need the lead.
Stout is DC'd. He is falling through the order and has not reappeared. Christensen with an 8.8 second stop, one of the fastest stops of the day, so he came in for a short fill, and that is going to try to pay off on the racetrack with a bit of an undercut, but we have lost one of our leaders.
Yeah, Harold Stout, that 43 machine, just completely off. He's done. That's really unfortunate.
Connection dropped. Carl
Wow.
Stout lost connection with less than 50 laps to go, and he was in a really good spot. Boy, being up front's been a bit of a curse here today. We've seen it with Matt Brewer. Now we see it with Stout. That's a tough break, and now that's the second, mechanical / connection issue that we've seen between him and our friend Millward back at the start of this race. So there's a battle a little further on back. That's Clenworth and Soloway, who battling for 6th and 7th right now, and these two guys in their own little world.
Well, and that's a point impacting battle right there.
Yeah, it is big time.
Yeah, these guys are both involved in the points. Solway is your leader.
Nunez down
currently fourth. The Nunez, our defending series champion on a limited schedule, coming to pit road. He's a winner. Already, just to remind everybody, he won one of the sprint races, the first of the 2 sprint races at the Indy GP last weekend. Altena won the second one. Clindy won the opener at Homestead. Law won at New Hampshire. Tim Bree won at Nashville.
Nunez also a previous winner of this exact event a few seasons ago, or last season, I believe.
Yes, had a very good strategy to get that win at Indianapolis last season. Gretsch now is playing around with Julian for the lead, and Julian still needs to come to pit road. He's 33 laps into the run. Gretsch now 27.
Yeah, this is one of those events where Altena's been really trying to the past few years.
I think Julian might be coming to pit road with the way he came low off of 2. I think
he's coming in this time by.
Yeah, because normally the non-verbal way of saying I'm coming to pit road is when you go down to the inside of the backstretch like that. And here he comes. Exactly. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, this is one of those races that the 11 machine trying to find a way into victory lane. He's got a 2nd, 2 thirds, and a 5th over the past 5 years in this event. I mean, he's been so good, just has not been able to make that last little step. And
watching Solway and Clindy down the front straight, they are racing aggressive right now. They are both weaving like it was the last lap snake going on.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing these two battle because remember, guys, these are drivers that want to save fuel. They want to hit their number and make it a 1 to go. And effectively, I guess, if this strategy works, if this fuel stint, if this fuel game works how they want it to, this is for the effective lead here with Solowaj over Clenworth. So it makes sense that they want to battle on one side, but on the other side, they still have to hit their number. So they have to be aggressive, but also conservative at the same time. This is really an interesting game of chess being played out between the 95 and the 37.
That's really big time move to the inside. Soloway got a little washed up, falls back behind Clenworth now. And now the 95 settles into 3rd. And now up at the front, Kyle Gretsch alone on an island. Clenworth and Soloway a little further back. As you see there was Lal who just made his stop. We're in that kind of window you were talking about earlier, Gary, where it's about to become, we're about to switch from dog days to go time.
It's getting ready to get real here at Indianapolis as we've reached now the 400-mile mark. We are in the last 100 miles of the 500-mile race, and this is normally when Rick Mears says, this is when you need to be ready to race. Never mind where you are in the first 400 miles. You just need to have your car ready to win in that last 100. And, well, he was kind of the chief architect of doing that. 3 of his 4 Indy 500 wins all came with late runs in the race to get the big dub. And, of course, he just dominated that 84 race. There was no question about that one. But we're coming to lap 160, 400-mile mark. Gretsch is your leader, and he's in a whole host of traffic right now.
Yeah, coming up on some lap traffic. Got some lap traffic just behind him as well. It's a lot of these cars who just came through the pit cycle that he's battling with. Mitchum, Crocker, Esch, Vincennes, Sol, all in this pack as well. I mean, there's a lot of cars right now around the 27, and I'm sure he is eternally grateful for that. It's going to be able to let him do a little bit more drafting, maybe try to stretch that number a little bit. He's out to 31 laps on this stint, so there is another car down pit lane, and the friends in as well. That is a car that we have not had the opportunity to talk about a ton today, but did cycle into the top 10 there before his stop. the 78 down pit road, and we still see this battle between Soloway and Clenworth. Now up to the leader, Kyle Gretsch.
Yeah, and with Dufresne coming down pit road there. Also, I don't know if is it Dufresne? Gary, you might have to correct me.
I'm going with Dufresne. I'm going
Okay.
with that escaped Shawshank. That's what I'm going with.
All right, well, I'll say, so that's Dufresne, and I just erased his number off of my little chart of people that I think have one more stop, because he originally, that 78, was on my list, but pitting here with 40 to go, no way he can make it to the end, and that's going to be one less car that, I put in that original 8. Now there's only 6 cars remaining that I think can make it to the end on one more stop.
Let's get a camera on the in-car of our leader, Gretsch. Let's see if he's lifting any. Yes, big lift in 1. Okay, so let me point out a couple things. We haven't really talked much about the car and the light. So he's in 5th gear on his wheel. That's what the 5 stands for. There's 6 gears. He uses the 6th gear for more than passing. So when he gets kind of an overdrive, when he gets in the draft, he gets that pole. He's in 6th gear, so he's in that draft. Normally when your lights start to blink, that's at the high end of the rev. Oh, look at the right in front of him. That is, I'm not sure who that was. Mitchum? No. And here he's coming to pit road. So he was lifting.
Oh, it's not enough.
No, it's not going to be enough.
No.
With now that turns the eyes to Clenworth and Soloway behind him. They pit 2 laps after Gretsch did. How much further are they going to take it? Because they've been racing each other hard these past few laps.
Clindy
looks like Soloway is going to peel out here.
Wow, it's not enough either.
Clindy in 4th gear, so he has got it pegged at 4th gear before it starts blinking. So he's doing some throttle control in this as well.
That's some aggressive fuel save.
Yeah, I want to look at his last lap. Miles per hour. Clindy 206, Coker 209, Pressy 211, Alternate. Oh yeah, he's doing a big fuel save. Now he's in 5th. He's behind somebody. He's going to go behind another one. That is Fiolis and Dufresne pass him. And when we were riding on board with Gretsch, there was a car that almost got in the wall right in front of him. That kind of threw me off, but he was doing some lifting going in the corner, so he was doing a fair bit of saving, but he's going to come up short. He's going to have to splash in the last 10 or so.
Yeah,
Clindy, if he could somehow sneak 3 more laps out of this thing, he's in the ballpark. He's like inside the door that gets you into the ballpark, but he's in the ballpark.
Okay, so I remember, guys, about 30 laps ago or so, I said there were 8 drivers that are the ones to watch an eye on to make the rest of the race a one stop. It's now down to 3. It is Kyle Clenworth, it is the 32 of Shane Kosher, and it is the 94 of Nicholas Pressy. Those are the 3 remaining drivers. Oh, and that is Shane Kosher. Oh, just as I'm talking about him. Makes the mistake. Let's hope there's not too much right side pod damage on that car.
He is
one of the 3.
He's trying to save on a number, but he has all these fast cars behind him as we go 3 wide, 2 rows deep. And he's just trying to get out of the way and hit his number and get the pit road where everyone else around him, they're fighting for position. I don't know if they're aware of the situation, of his situation, so they're racing him really, really hard. They see him as slow traffic. He's just trying to hit a number and stay out of everyone's way. Two complete different strategies going on. It's not about the fastest car right now. It's just who can get to the ending first.
Yeah, and Kosher with that damage. Pressy had to get out of the throttle. He's down the 10th. All eyes, really, for the one-stop strategy. Turned to Clenworth. He's gotten to 35.
That might lose a man. Christensen, did he get it back? Oh, he's forgiven. Oh, that is huge. That was going to be race over for him, but that almost became an issue coming to pit road. And I don't know if Coker declared he was coming to pit road, if they just weren't paying attention, but Coker, obviously, you have to look at your relative and see, man, he is like millions of laps into a stint. He's got to be coming to pit road anytime, and he is forgiven. You see that wing come back.
That's unbelievable. Look at this one more time on board with Christensen.
And he is coming to 167. He is going to be in the ballpark. It is going to be very close. He needs 33 laps.
Unbelievable luck there for Christensen to stay in the mix after that. Clenworth down pit road, able to save enough to maybe make it on one, or make this the final stop. And
I believe this is the final stop.
Yeah. And up at the front of the field, it's Amon Law for the first time here today. He's battling with Altena, and the two teammates dialed in here 1-2 for really the first time all afternoon long.
We got Altena now, the leader. Law second. Then we got Luis Nunez. And then also involved there is Pressy in the Mach 5, but the Mach 5 not in the running. He is down in 21st. He is currently the first car 1 lap down. Shane Coker, last car on the lead lap in 20th spot.
Tell you what, it's been a little bit of a quiet patch here for our pole sitter Strauss alongside with Kinder. They've fallen back to 5th and 7th, and they've had a little bit of a tough time getting back into this lead group after being dominant through the middle part of the race. But to what you were saying earlier, Gary, the part you really want to be focusing on is this last 100 miles, and right now it seems that the 13 of Law and the 11 of Altena have really come alive here in the closing stage.
Yeah, and we take a look at Clenworth, who you can see how much time he lost by trying to fuel save in that last stint. You remember, he was running around that top 10. Now he's 15th, 32 seconds down from the leader. Remember, guys, this lap is only about 41, 42 seconds. If he has to do another stint with that degree of fuel saving, he might get passed on track, even though he did one less pit stop. So this is going to come down to the wire for Clenworth to see if he can win this race, beat out Amon Law, beat out Julian Altena, the two Altena Autosports members that are currently leading this race 1 and 2. Is he able to fuel save effectively enough to keep his position, to keep this net win that he currently has right now? Because I'll tell you what, Nicholas Pressy and Shane Cocher, they've also hit their number, but they're essentially lapped down in 20th and 21st position. They've really inhibited the race by going for the strategy, and they'll probably still come out around the backside of the top 10, but they're not in the position to win the race. Clenworth is the only person on this alternate strategy in the position to win, but now the question is, can he pull it off?
And one driver that we haven't talked about a ton here tonight who's having a really good drive is Milan Vogelsang. Battle for the lead. There we go. No, go for it. We've got some action up front.
So we got Santos, I believe. No, that's Hatsuma. And he's just trying to, again, stay out of everyone's way. But Julian saw an opportunity. He's like, screw it, I'm going to send it.
Oh, we're going 3 wide in the one. Someone's got to bail. I think it ultimately ended up being Hatsuma, but he's back into the third car in that group. Boy, oh boy, it is getting dicey up front. Just about to shout out Milan Vogelsang, who's up to 4th. He's having a great day, but man, it's getting wild up here right now. Law back to the point.
Yeah, all of these drivers have a guaranteed one more pit stop. There's no reason to fuel save, no reason to tire save. You know the strategy that everybody else is on. There's no point in trying to play a chess game. The only chess game is how can you outthink your opponents on the track? How can you over-under them? How can you fake them into the corner? And how can Altena and Law play this game here? Of course, this is Law racing with his boss, as they are both a member of Altena Autosports. Can they play the game well enough to keep Luis Nunez behind? I mean, time will tell, but they're doing a very good job so far here.
Let's take a breath here before we get into the action here. First of all, I do want to say that the Indianapolis 500 is presented to you by the Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org and Dan Inch. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality of care and support. But they can't end Alzheimer's without your help. To learn more or to donate after this race or in another tab, go to ALZ.org. Link is right there. I just gave you the link, ALZ.org, and give a donation today. It's very important research, and there should be more money given to researching and more quality of care for people that suffer from Alzheimer's. So check them out at ALZ.org, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's race. Okay, guys, deep breath. We're now to the end. We're into the window to get to the end. Anybody that's made a stop at this point forward is good to go, but we're still watching.
First car who was down pit road was Tessera. He was way far back from this lead group, but he was the first car who's made the stop here with 30 to go.
Okay, so he is good to go to the end now for sure. But this whole group that we're watching, they still need to stop. And if we look at what we got for stints, we got Julian at 17 laps. Law at 16, Nunez at 19, Vogelsang at 19, and Strauss at 28. Strauss's final stop's coming up anytime now.
Yeah, that's for him and Sebastian Kinder back in 7th. They're both 28 laps in. They're in that window. They were doing what Lucas was talking about earlier, trying to cut some thirds out of those final 60 laps or so. And Lucas, I think it's about time that those two start thinking about coming down pit road here.
Yeah, their tires are going to be very old here. Not a lot of grip when you're running these things for 29 laps. It's very different from the Daytona 500, from a race
Kinder
like
on pit
Talladega. And yeah, Kinder, as you just have been saying, they're coming down pit road, 30 lap old tires. You want to get them off. These Indy cars, even though this is a flat out track in clean air, they use those tires really, really heavily through those corners. It's nothing like the drafting tracks of Daytona 500 and Talladega and the NASCAR, where you don't really need new tires. You can do an entire 500 in iRacing on one set of tires. It's nothing like that. These cars use those tires to their full effectiveness, and you really want to not wear them out too much, and you really just don't want to be on old tires. It really just sucks to drive, and that's where the white walling comes in. That's where you understeer into the wall and ruin your race.
25 to go now. Alternate Law, Nunez, that top 3 group. Nunez hanging back just a little bit. These top 2 cars doing what they do best, is trading spots here for the lead. Just hearing over the radio now, Strauss getting ready to pit this time by. Couple other takers as well. I think Fiolis is down pit road, so was Ench. So more cars making that final stop there, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. These drivers, we talked about it so much, and I love focusing on the strategy type because I love running the numbers as an actuary major myself, which is just a really specific field of math. I love crunching the, talking about the fuel strategy, talking about this chess game that these drivers play here. And yeah, the people that still have to come down pit lane is your top 7, really. All the way from Amon Law down to Andres. They still have to make their stop. When they do is absolutely crucial. Do they go for the undercut? Do they go for the overcut? You know, do they wait for the caution, or do they take the fresher tires now? It's all up in the air. It's a decision that literally will make or break your race with 23 to go. And I cannot wait to see where it pans out, especially when they pit. Where do they pan out? And according to Kyle Clenworth, that question is looming in my mind so heavily right now. There are so many questions to be answered. These last 20 laps are going to deliver.
The thing that strikes me is, you know, when we've seen cars make green flag stops earlier on this race, they lost about a lap. And Kyle Clenworth, about a lap behind the race leader. I'm on Law right now as him and Alton are getting almost together off of 4. I mean, Clenworth is trying to save fuel. I know that much, but to what you were saying earlier, Lucas, how much fuel save is too much to the point where you all of a sudden put yourself at a deficit on the racetrack? He's in this battle, and you know he's up in full gear right now. But
well, let's put it also this way: his final stop was a full stop. So these guys that have to stop, they're partial stops. They're going to get short fill. The answer to this question is how much fuel does it take to get the IndyCar to the finish? The answer is just enough. And so they just need just enough fuel in the tank to get to the end, and it's not a full tank to get to the end. At about lap 170, it's a full tank. Now we're talking it's a third lower. It's a third lower than that they would normally need now at 180 with 20 to go. So their stops are going to be a lot shorter. It's going to be throw on a new set of tires, and pretty much when they drop from the jacks, it's going to be time to go. Normally what they have to do is they wait for that fill to happen so they could get all the 18 plus gallons that go into these cars at the bitter end. But now we're only talking they need 2/3 of that. So they need it somewhere in the neighborhood of, 9, 10, 11, 12 gallons versus the 18 to get to the end. So that's
already,
the other thing. Here comes Julian. Here comes Julian.
Alton is down, but here's the thing. Strauss is already in front of Clenworth here, and he's already made a stop. He's in the same pack, but Strauss has made his last stop. So now, Clenworth, you can't save anymore because that's the car he's chasing right there, is the 28.
That's okay. That's okay. We got 20 laps to go, and it's right in front of him. Right in front of him. No panic. No panic.
Yeah, for sure. Assuming that he can go out as hard as the 28 can. If he was doing any other kind of fuel save, you can't anymore.
Yeah, if he's not good from here to the end going full out, I mean, he's just going to unfortunately watch as people pass him and people pit in front of him. And all he can do is feel safe and watch as he had 2 more people coming down pit lane. That's Law. That's Vogelzang. And I'm surprised Altna already came down pit lane. Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't come down together. That's really weird.
Well, they maybe decided to split strategies to kind of throw the biggest net out there.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
In real IndyCar racing, these stops of the race, even though they would be shorter fills, they would be among their slowest stops because these are gravity-fed fuel tanks here. They're not under pressure, and so it takes the weight of the fuel in the tank to push it through the hose to get to the car. Well, there's less fuel there in the tank, so there's less weight pushing down. So the fuel flow later in the race in real IndyCar races, typically at the end of the race, is a lot slower.
They don't cycle out really good here.
Yeah, they don't take that into account here in the sim, though. But yeah, you're right. Altena, here he comes, and he's right with his teammate.
Yeah, they got dialed up. Law, Altena, Vogelzang, all back together again. Only 4 cars in front of him. Gretsch, Vince, Mitchum, and Nunez, who still needs to make a stop here. Or all 4 of them need to make a stop, but Nunez was the last car in that lead group. He actually just came down pit road. So I think at this point, you got what you got, everybody.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Clindy, I think you need to take him off your list. I love the guy; he's my teammate and everything, but it just unless there's a caution late in this race, he's not close enough. And the key people that went to pit road that were part of that lead pack all came out in front of him.
Nunez cycled into this mix really nicely. Sorry to jump in.
No, you're good.
He got right in there with Altena and Law here. He didn't lose any time despite pitting a little bit later.
Yeah, and Altena and Law, they're still going to be the 2 at the front. I mean, they've been leading a lot of these last laps. They've been keeping together, but Nunez is done with the games. They're going 3 wide.
Go 3 wide at the line, and Nunez is going to send it to the bottom, and your defending series champion and defending winner of the race looking to go back-to-back.
He's still to the inside of Altena here. The 11 not making it easy. And here we go. Law now back to another 3 wide. The 13 this time on the bottom of it. He's going to be able to make this pass down the back straight away. All the gloves are off. They are throwing haymakers at each other right now.
And just to remind you, winners of back-to-back Indy 500s, Vuki won back-to-back 500s. Al Unser Sr. won back-to-back 500s. Then we had Elio Castro Neves win back-to-back 500. Almost went back-to-back-to-back, but Gil de Ferran kind of spoiled that in 2003. And then we have the back-to-back recently. Oh, getting close down the backstretch. The back-to-back recently with Joseph Newgarden. So it doesn't happen very much in IndyCar history.
It's only happened here in VOR once with Alexander Van der Zandt. He did, granted, it was 4 in a row, but Vince's pitting, and now here's the 4-car pack. Don't count out Vogelzang just yet. He's right in that pack as well.
No, that when they went 3 wide down the front stretch, and that really slowed that group down. Vogelzang just got right up in it, and so that just helped him out. And I think Julian and Law,
big move.
Julian and Law just need to take that into account and just say, the more we race, the more it's going to be, instead of a 3-car battle, a 4-car battle.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially for the 2 teammates there. For Nunez, I'm not sure how he would feel about making this a 3 or 4-car race. On one hand, he might get a little bit more help if Vogelzang was up there just because the other 2 are teammates, but also adding a 4th car to the equation just makes everything a little bit more hectic, a little bit more complicated as Nunez is battling to hold on to the inside line here against Altena.
Yeah, it's hard to hold back, though. On one hand, you guys are right. You're battling. The people behind are catching. Vogelzang now has your draft and will be entering this battle very soon. But the lead is right there. How do you not push for it? You know what I'm saying? How do you not fight all out for this victory? It's 13 to go. You're gonna be pushing as hard as you can. We saw it there for a bit. The dark green car of Kyle Gresh still yet to pit. So he's the last one that still has to come down pit road. He's been on that stint for 25 laps, so he definitely cannot make it to the end. But now it's going to be a fight for the lead, or effectively, I should say, it's Nunez on the inside of the race, or sorry, the league owner Altina, and they're getting very close on exit there, Gary.
And
let me just.
They got a car in front of them. That was Coker giving him the dirty air. That was making it difficult where you saw Nunez slide up. And that was a result of the dirty air.
Hey, not to spoil the awesome battle we got going on here, but I think it's just something to keep an eye on. Kyle Gretsch is in extreme fuel saving mode. He's going around this place with no draft, entirely in 6th gear right now. And he was peaking out at about 200 miles an hour down the straightaways. He's got a 14-second edge. I don't think he can make it to the end on fuel, but he's certainly going to give it a go.
Wow, he is at 201. He is on a Rossi strategy. He might even be, he's in 6th gear and maybe even in he could be in map 8. The lowest map possible. Now you have race maps. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are your race maps. 199.9. Last time by for Gretsch. 10 to go.
I mean, it's going to be an extreme effort, but he does have an 11-second edge to work with as Nunez big block on Law in the 1.
Now they're within 10 seconds. So they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the race maps. 5 is the lowest race map. Then there's what we call extreme fuel save under caution. But when they go to caution, we go to fuel map 8. And he is very possibly in that in 6th gear trying for a maximum save. And maybe hoping for a caution. We could ride with it, but we could hear it in the engine. Look at the rev. So if we go on board with him, I don't know if the director could take us on board with Gretsch. Look at the lights. Look how the lights are just barely past halfway on the dash.
It's also the first time he shifted down in about 3 laps, I want to say.
There is no inputs being put. No over rev inputs being. Now he's in 6th.
I think he saw how much that gap was starting to shrink. But man, we've got ourselves a duel just behind this man. Nunez, Altina, Law, 3 wide into 3. Law, Nunez, no.
Oh no, Law!
And we're going to 2 leaders and 2 teammates going to the wall, and we're under caution. And this is exactly what Gretsch wants to see. He might not be liking it exactly, but this is exactly what he wants to see.
Oh my gosh.
2 teammates. Law was trying to pinch Nunez down a little bit into 3, and the car just couldn't stick it going into the corner. Slides up and wipes out his teammate. The 2 of them were running so well. They were 3rd and 4th at the time of caution.
We're going to see some people come to pit road, too, to throw some tires on. They're going to do a full send here. Gentlemen, there are 2 rules with racing your teammate. Rule 1 is you do not wreck your teammate. Rule 2 is refer always back to Rule 1. And you might want to put a 3rd rule in there, is thou shalt not wreck your team owner as well. So there's going to be a long, awkward discussion after this race by 2 drivers that are cooperating, or should have been cooperating with one another, and another driver that has been after this race for a very long time. So we have another situation happen as well, unrelated. I think Nunez had a problem as well.
Gary, look at the netcode. It was crazy. That was like a insane netcode. Is Nunez and I believe Law. There, I could have laid down in between the space in between those cars. But he slid out, and that was insane to watch. That was just iRacing being weird once again. Another freak accident. Because once again, you're in NA servers, but you have people racing all the way from Brazil and Italy and Europe and America. So netcode incidents happened, unfortunately, and that was just a really unfortunate one. So I don't think Altina will put too much of the blame on Law, just because it's just another weird iRacing freak accident.
That being said, you can't help but be frustrated, I'm sure.
Yeah,
this race has eluded Julian Altina for each of the past 5 seasons. He's come so close and was close again here today. Not meant to be, though, for either of the Altina Autosport cars, as he's going to try to get some of that damage repaired, but I find it unlikely. Gretsch just came down pit road under caution, which means your top 3 now are Luis Nunez, Milan Vogelsang, and Kyle Clenworth.
Clenworth is up there. All right, here we go.
And I also want to point out I'm riding with Luis Nunez, and he is doing a fair bit of clutching and coasting right now, so he might be close on fuel as well.
Yeah, because even though people could think, oh, he only pit 10 laps ago, he should be fine. But to what you were saying, Gary, it's one of those situations of how much fuel did they actually put in the car on that
he could have underfilled it. Go to Luis Nunez in-car, and we could listen to the engine sound. He's going to kick right now he's in 6th and cruising, but he's going to kick it into the kick the clutch in and do a little bit of coasting. And that is saving on precious fuel. He's not doing it right now, but he was doing it leading up to. Always when you cut the camera, that's when they stop doing it. They're like, oh, they caught me.
Yeah, what we like to say in Ball State here is...
So here we go, going green. But 7 laps coming to 6 laps to go. We're fanning down the back. We're wrecking in the back. That is, we're going to go green anyway. Solwedge gets, and there's a car.
Strauss. It's Strauss with a missing rear wing.
And he doesn't know it, and he's going to wreck in turn 1.
Oh, he gets contact with Solway again. Heavy contact for the pole sitter. He's around the back out.
And I knew that was going to happen. Once I saw the floppy rear wing, these cars are unwieldy. With no rear wing, with that no downforce, they'll have snap oversteer, and that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Once again, this is after the accident happened. Remember, guys, this is Matthias Strasser, pole sitter, who has been leading so many of these laps. You think back all the way to Matt Brewer when they were playing the game. And just once again, another unfortunate accident for one of these drivers. Let's see how it happens. So he gets a great run, goes around the outside of Brian Fiela's start. Looks like that bright pink car was maybe just going slow, trying to stay out of everything, and just... Oh, that's solo wide. He just hops on top of him.
He
takes off his rear wing.
And then he gets the rear wing. And this kind of goes back to, there's a video, you could find it on YouTube, at Mario Andretti at Milwaukee in '87, where he lost his front wing on the main straightaway. And then as he turns into turn 1, the back end just comes around. He hits the wall backwards, and he ended up injuring himself pretty severely after that race and had to miss a couple of races that season. So that just tells you how important. If you didn't think a wing was important on an IndyCar, a rear wing is very important on an IndyCar, especially when you have front wings, because that is snap oversteer, and that was never going to work. In fact, if his teammate was on the radio, he should have been yelling at him, man, you don't have a rear wing, you need to get out of the throttle. But either way, it's going to be a difficult turn 1. So now we're going to have a sprint to the end here. The Indianapolis 500 is going to turn into the Indianapolis 10 or so, with Nunez your leader, Vogelsang second, Klindy now third, Mitchum fourth, Vince fifth, Crocker 6th, Tessera 7th, Gretsch 8th, Inch in 9th, and Kinder in 10th. You got to ask yourself, Gretsch had to come to pit road to top off. Did he expect another caution after this one, and possibly could he have made it? Well,
that's the question, isn't it?
He's going to have at least fresh tires now versus everyone else with 13, 14, and 29-lap old tires for the top 3. But Gretsch only has 3 laps. Dude can full send it on the first lap if he wants to.
Yeah, he certainly could. There's a couple of cars who probably are in good shape tire-wise. I mean, Andras Vince, I would keep an eye on there in that 5th spot. Only 10-lap old tires, a little bit fresher than Nunez and Vogelgang. He could do something here. I don't know. It felt like we had such a good handle on this race, and now with 2 quick cautions taking out a lot of really fast race cars, all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, who's up at the front?
Yeah, and going back to the over-under, remember, guys, the number was 16.5. Here we go with 5 to go. 18 drivers remain in this race. So the over is winning, but just by a little bit, and that can very quickly change to the under if another big wreck happens here. But we're about to go green. The lights in that pace car are off. Take it away, Gary, for hopefully the last time here.
Here we go. It becomes a qualification run to win the Indy 500. We now are coming to green flag in the air for the final time, hopefully, with 4 to go. And now we start fanning out already. It is going to be Nunez, who won our last season race, and it's our defending series champion. Vogelsang looking for his first, and here comes Klindy. He's onto the inside of Vogelzang. Now we go 3 wide. They bang wheels on the short shoot. Clinty's not going to give him much room. Here we go through turn 2. Clinty to the inside, down to the bottom. Here comes Nunez. Clinty's just going to hold his line. We're going to go 3 wide. They're going to try to pitch each other on the bottom half. And here comes Mason Mitchell on the outside. 4 wide into 3.
Oh, somehow they got through it unscathed. Nunez to the lead. Clinworth hanging with him. Mitchum trying to wheel the outside here at Indy. Unbelievable stuff.
Don't you dare tell me the Indianapolis 500, whether it's ran in May or whether it's ran in September, is important to these drivers. Here comes Clinty to the outside and to the lead at 1.
Oh, and Vogelzang's around.
Contact. We got a caution at Clinty. Clinty's going to get the win. He's going to pick up the win. He was leading at the caution.
Wow. On the older tires, Kyle Clinworth, I believe, is in position to win the 14th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race after Vogelzang hard into the wall in car. He is scored in first. We do know that within the last 10 laps, the admins were saying that they were going to try to reduce the caution lengths in attempt to try to get more green flag racing in, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough time to restart this thing.
We are now 2 to go, and the next time we come by is 1 to go. And maybe they decide to do it, or we end a race naturally as God intended, a 500-mile race to end, whether it's under green or under caution. But next time will be white flag. Caution is in the air. Again, watching the replay, Vogelzang just to the inside. And he got a full head of steam. Clinty goes to the outside of Luis Nunez. Vogelzang gets a run. And I think what happened is that a little bit of contact with Gretsch, and that unfortunately collects the Miller All-American, which has had a bad year at the Speedway this year. Didn't qualify and didn't quite make it to 500 miles here. And again, it's so bummed out to be those drivers that you're 2 laps from the end. And
wow, yeah,
you don't get the 500 miles. You get just shy of 500 miles.
On board with Mitchum here, you could really get a good look at the contact between Gretsch. The contact between Gretsch and Vogelzang was pretty big. Netcode once again. You hate to see it. You hate saying it over and over again. I feel like that word is just like constantly in my mind when we're talking about these Indy cars on iRacing. But just unfortunate that we have another netcode incident. But that's just how it goes sometimes.
We are going to end this race as God intended. Is white flag is now in the air. Final lap. Your winner, and I told you earlier in the race, man, this guy had a really big month of May. He finished 800 laps, went 4 for 4 in top split races in the fixed Indy 500. Went 4 for 4, 2 wins. Went when I say 4 for 4, meaning he finished on the podium each time with 2 wins, and also completed every single one of those 800 laps. And one of 2 drivers to do that in all of iRacing this year, and it's this guy right here, Kyle Clinworth, getting his 2nd career win in the not votive, but he is actually the defending votive series champion. He's also the series champion of Horizon. He's also the series champion of the ISRA. He's a former Oval Series champion. He's now learning his craft on road courses, and now might be the points leader and Indy 500 winner of the VOR IndyCar Series as he comes through turns 3 and 4 for the final time under caution. And there is nothing wrong about getting your win at Indianapolis under caution. Dario Franchitti got each one of his 3 wins at the 500 under caution. Rick Mears got one of his wins under caution. There's nothing wrong with getting a caution or getting a win under caution. You just had your car at the right time and the right place. And the right time and the right place is coming to lap 200 at the lead, coming to the checkered flag in the yard of bricks right here in Indianapolis. Clinty, a native Midwesterner, has his family at home watching one of his biggest wins he's ever had right here, right now. Kyle Clinworth, your winner at the 14th running of the Velocity Online Racing Indy 500, brought to you by Dan Inch, ALZ.org, and the Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah, and your
Tell you
podium
what.
finishers will be, Luis Nunez and Kyle Gresh to wrap up the podium. And tell us, Alex, what you got?
Well, I was just about to say, I tell you what, man, that move that he made in the one to really make that happen at the end, truly incredible stuff to get around, even on the older tires. But your top 4 finishers here today started this race 18th, 24th, 27th, and 30th, respectively. Big drives for all 4 of them to work their way up into this group. The highest finishing car who started today's race in the top 10 was Sebastian Kinder, who will bring it home 7th. Big day for cars working their way through the pack.
Yeah, 17 spots for Clindy, Luis Nunez, 22 spots, Kyle Gretsch, 24 spots. And on our other channel over on P1, we cover a lot of these IndyCar races. My fellow commentator, not Luis Nunez, not related at all, but Luis Gonzalez Nunez, always like to pick a driver of the race, and is normally someone, he said, it earns the most position but doesn't get on the podium, that they deserve a shout out. And that shout out is Marshall Crocker Jr. Finished in 4th spot, 26 spots better than where he started. He started in the 30th spot on the next to last row. He started in row 10.
Yeah, impressive drive through the field for him. And now we're going to see Clenworth give us some good burnouts here. I assume he's going to burn it down.
Don't do it on the
main
bricks,
stretch.
Don't do it on the bricks. Don't do it on the bricks. You can't do it on the bricks. You got Coker there, who I'm sure was working with him a little in this race. Give him a little bit of a photo moment, congratulatory drive-by. And Clindy on the yard of bricks. And I don't know if we haven't done this yet, but we probably should have. Have we got the final standings in graphics?
Yeah, we can take a look at that. But first, we definitely want to see if he burns it down. We want to capture all of the moments that this hot pink car is going to capture for us today. But no, I think he's just taking it all in. You know, sitting there, probably very emotional in the cockpit of his car here. Just taking it all in, looking at it. And now here he goes. Goes hard to the throttle, and he's going to start spinning that car around.
Forget spinning the car around, he spun it right into the wall.
All right, they have a couple
He's
weeks
missing a front
before.
wing.
That's all right. The tech inspection doesn't need that anyways, but they can repair this thing in 2 weeks. But Clindy with his first career win here at the Speedway in the Velocity Online Racing Series gets the win under caution over Luis Nunez, their defending series champion and defending winner. Almost went back-to-back. Kind of in the same vein as Ericsson a couple of years ago, but just not going to pan out there. Kyle Gretsch comes home 3rd. Crocker, the driver of the race, in 4th. Christensen, hey, 44 Nation, give this guy some shouts because he did an exceptional job, and he's your highest finishing Altena Autosports car too, and he comes home with the top 5. Tessera, very quietly, also up into the top 10 and 6. Kinder, up at the front all day today, probably wanted better than the 7th, comes home in the 7th. Hey, here is our sponsor for today's race, and a top 10 for our sponsor. And really got to thank him and put in an effort, and he's rewarded with a top 10 here at Indianapolis. Pressy in the Mach 5 comes home 9th, and Saul, who is on a bit of a different strategy, does as well. It's rewarded him with the top 10. He comes home in 10th. Moving on, you got Solwich, our points leader, and this is really going to kind of help him. He finished kind of ahead of most of his key people with the exception of Clindy, but at one point he's got to ask himself, I was racing Clindy at some point during this race. A lot of what-ifs right there for him at the end of this race. Dufresne in 12th, Coker in 13th, Hatsema 14th, Mitchum from one lap going 4 wide into turn 3 for the lead to the next lap finishing 15th, going backwards down the short chute on the other end of the racetrack. Not what he had planned, but still a good race for Mason in 15th. Fiola 16th, Vince in 17th, Vogelzang, not the finish he was looking for, 18th. Strauss, also the same thing in 19th. Julian, also the same thing in 20th. Moving on to the next page is Lal, Stout, Polak, Santos. I mean, a lot of these guys just had great days that just for one reason or another just couldn't get the finish they wanted. Seigers in 25th, Santos 26th, James Watson with a long day ends it in 27th, Brewer 28th after really dominating early portions of this race. Tink 29th, Vitor in 30th. And the last 3, actually last 2, we've got Miriani and Millward Millerwood with the early mechanical and was out after lap 5. That is your field here and final results for the Velocity Online Racing 14th running of the Indy 500.
Yeah, it was a race that definitely delivered the strategy, the chaos, the racing, the 4 wide of the Brickyard, which you never see. You never see 4 wide of the Brickyard. And now we can take a talk with some of these drivers. We're going to get that podium. We're going to get those drivers that finished on the podium. We're going to bring them up to the booth. We're going to get an interview with them. So I believe, Gary, you get the first interview with Kyle Klenberth, and I think we have it for you right now.
Bring him on down here in the channel, and here is my man. How you feeling right now, my man?
Top of the world, man! Roll of horsepower! Give me some.
Talk about your race, man. Midway through, I told the guys, let's not overlook this guy, and I told him your credentials of what you did during the fixed 500, and that you just needed to have your shot to get there, and it wasn't looking good. That caution got you there. You just had to close the deal, and you did it in kind of impressive form because you did it, but beating the defending series champion, the defending winner of the race, and you also did it on much older tires. Where did it all come from, my man?
I just wanted to handicap myself a little bit, give those other guys a chance.
But seriously, though, man, did you think you have a shot at this thing? I mean, the numbers really, if you look at this, and if you and I were broadcasting the race and we saw that the car behind the leader has tires that are in the 20s versus the leader that was in the mid-teens, you and I would be looking at you going, it's going to be pretty hard for the car in the second spot to be racy here. And you made it racy, and I guess the point is you were just really leading at the time when that caution came out. I don't know what it would have been like for another 3 or more laps for you to have to outduel him like that. But was the caution a bit of a lifesaver for you, or did you have more left?
Well, really, my strategy unraveled when Kostek started weaving and blocking when I was 2 laps better on fuel than him. We ended up slowing down 5 seconds a lap for no reason. For 3 or 4 laps in a row. And I guess he just wanted me to lead and then was frustrated that I didn't lead. And it was not my obligation to lead, right? I had the choice to lead, but I didn't want to, tow him around and burn more fuel. So the only way I was going to make it is if I saved, and the only way he was going to make it was if he pit. So whether or not I was leading or following didn't really impact him except for 1 or 2 laps. But, if he wants to race that way and use that strategy, that's fine. And without the yellow, I probably finished 4th because I was good to go to the fuel, to the finish at after that final pit stop. It was 35 laps or whatever. The number was very easy for me to make. I had obviously ample more fuel after those yellows to do pace laps and burnouts and all that stuff. But honestly, Luis didn't have the opportunity to win because the car is just really draggy this afternoon. The package was such that you get awful fuel economy leading, and that's why I thought the save was a good idea until I ended up leading. But also, if you get stuck on the bottom, the car bogs, and he protected the bottom, and I had clean air in the second lane, and I knew I had Mason rear gunning for me, and from there, I felt very confident that it was a coin flip, right? Who would be ahead at the time of the yellow or coming to the yard of bricks on the white flag lap? And every time I've ever seen someone win off of turn 4, they've done it from lane 2, or as the third car back. So I was feeling very confident in my ability to outduel even with the older tires, just because I hadn't ran a hard lap on them, even though they were so much older. I knew I'd be able to stick it wherever I wanted to, however fast I needed to.
How's this rank in the Parthenon of Clindy wins in IndyCar? I know your 4 or your 2 fixed Indy 500 wins are right up there, but how's this rank in terms with other wins that you've done in your sim racing career, especially in the IR18?
Well, of broadcasted races, it's probably number 1 for now. Top Split Tuesday night is awesome, but I've not won IIS on broadcast yet. I've not won an open Monday night race on broadcast yet. So those may usurp this depending on the SOF and the competitors. But, going wheel to wheel and beating a former pro side to side who's on a very good team and, the defending champion, the defending race champion, says a lot about my abilities when I was, had the microphone last season and called that win and called that championship. And the fact that I'm rapidly improving on road courses, and in fact, you can see a lot of me in the highlight reel from race 2 at the Indy GP from last week. I think I can really make a real shot at this. All I have to do is survive and not spin myself after I've worked my way up 14 spots. And I really think I can nurse through the road courses with back of the top 10s or even mid pack and continue to dominate on the ovals like I have all season and come home with the chip.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone want to say hi to before we let you go. We know you're going to go celebrate, so we'll just go ahead and let you get all that out of the way because I know you're happy and it's going to be a big happy time in Clindy Town tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you so much to Shane Coker, who runs the Votive Racing League. We race Sunday nights. This Sunday will be Dark Horse. I'll be in the booth with you tomorrow night on P1 Broadcasting. But next Sunday, we will be back at Iowa. So let's see if I can retain the crown of being the king of corn because I won there last season in Votive. And let's see if anybody can come knock me off the top stop of the pedestal for the points challenge. And then I have a new sponsor on the car. I have advanced.gg. It's a hydration, energy, and focus supplement company. If you go to advanced.gg and check out with promo code CLENDYSENDY, capital K, capital S, you can get 10% off all of your orders. They just launched a brand new Baja Lime flavor, which if you go to a certain establishment that has a large bronze ringing device in their logo, it's very, very similar and it's very, very good. So go check that out. Use promo code CLENDYSENDY and you'll help me out and help them out. Yeah. But yeah, I Kiero Moss every day. I'm going to live Moss the rest of the night. And, shout outs to my mom who watched this race, all my friends and family back home in Illinois, including my cousin Craig who runs Sugarman Farms, and all the fine people at Techtopia Systems who I probably need to give a call because I've had a couple of scares with my PC today. The Mobo is not always registering my pedal inputs. So I rear-ended someone at Laguna Seca earlier today, and I'm very sorry for that because my brakes and my throttle stuck, and I couldn't do anything. So the pedals are fine. It's my Mobo. So we'll get it all figured out and get it fixed. But yeah, thanks so much, Gary. Thanks for all you guys who run here. So Julian for inviting me to run this, and Green Flag TV for putting this on, and alz.org. So I think you're going to have Dan up here, Dan Inch. Thanks for being the sponsor of this event. These sponsorships mean a whole lot to the community. Without them, we wouldn't be able to make our hobby make a little bit of fun money. So that's always great. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much, everybody.
Kyle Clinton winner here at Indianapolis. Next up is Luis Nunez, and I think we'll drag him down. And Lucas, I'll give you the handoff, and you can talk to Luis. So close, almost 2 in a row.
Yeah, I just remember talking to you literally last week as you won the first heat at the Indy road course, and you come so close here today. Talk us through your feelings on those last couple laps. What was your goal trying to block Clenworth and the other guys behind? And what was the feeling when that caution came out and you saw that he just barely edged you out?
Oh man, I'm so pissed right now. Yeah, I feel like I absolutely deserve it, but there are things you can fight against, and luck is one of those. Yeah, I knew if the race finished on green, I had a win because on the inside he had nothing to lose. But yeah, he got just got to be the nose ahead of me when the yellow came. So yeah, for this, yeah, that's it.
I mean, you drove a great race. I mean, the field strategy was really intense this time, and battles all up and down the field. Talk us through how you were just really able to get to the end of the race. We saw half of the field not finish the race. Talk us through how you're really able to keep your car clean and not get too involved with all the wrecks.
Yeah, I was starting from P24, so I just took it easy. Started to make moves slowly, and yeah, just gain positions lap by lap. And I think it was like half the race already. I was in the group, just trying to save as much fuel as possible, and yeah, making the extra laps to have better tires at the end. And yeah, as what I said, I feel like I've got everything. It's just the luck didn't come with me this time. And but yeah, I feel like I did probably my best ever race here in Indy, so I'm pretty happy from that side. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, you said you drove a you drove a very good race, very strong race, and just unfortunately the timing of the caution just wasn't on your side today. But we still have a lot of the season left to go, and this points that you got here from not only last week but today as well, it's going to really boost you in those standings. So are you looking forward to the rest of the season now? Maybe you have a shot at winning another championship and making it back to back.
Nah, I don't think probably I'm doing a couple more races, but definitely not doing the whole championship. I just I just wanted to make this race because it's the Indy 500, but apart from that, it was like win or wall for me. I didn't mind on getting a P2, and it's happened, man. It's racing. What can we do?
We get it. I mean, hey, racing is fun. You love to race. We're glad that you're able to make it out to these races here at Indy. And before we let you go, do you have anybody or sponsors that you'd like to thank or shout out?
Well, I would like to thank the guys from Farsali, Oswali, and that's it. Apart from that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was your second place finisher, Luis Nunez, and I believe Alex now is standing by with our third place finisher.
Well, I certainly was. They are no longer in the Discord chat, so I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be able to catch up with Kyle Gretsch at the moment, but we will.
I did.
We'll see what you guys want to do. He was in the waiting room for a minute, and then right about the end of our time talking to.
There he is. There he is.
There he is. We'll bring him in.
We'll bring him down here for you. Here you go. He's back.
Hey there, Kyle. This is the Green Flag TV booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha.
I'll tell you what, it was real close on the strategy call here today, and plus 24 spots just came up a little bit short. How are you feeling at the moment at the end of this one?
I feel. It's not pushing. Nope. All right. No, it was really interesting. Coming down to the end there, I was very I didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end out front. I just was like, screw it, I'm gonna run map 8, and that didn't actually work because it didn't actually save enough fuel. But I was hoping maybe for a lucky caution with like 3 to go or something, and I'd default to be the winner. But no, got there, caution, put tires on it, and then what was it, like 10th to 3rd, and then I passed like 5 cars on the front stretch.
Well, I mean, it certainly worked out in that sense, but also, I mean, obviously not able to foretell the future of, the last couple cautions there. If you had just committed to trying to stay out there at the end, do you think you would have been able to make it on the previous amount of fuel, or were you going to be short no matter what?
I 1000% wouldn't have been able to make it. I could have maybe stretched it to make it with 2 laps left.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, it was still a really strong drive for you today. I mean, we were talking plus 24 spots. What was it like trying to work your way through the field this afternoon?
I do Indy 500s kind of infrequently, and I don't get to run IndyCars on ovals that often, so it's always just fun to just kind of get in there and just kind of do stuff. I don't really get super competitive about it. I just try to like do my own thing, and I was just running map 5 and just seeing if I had any good opportunities to pass people, and then at the end there, just full bore, go for it.
Well, certainly was a fun show that you were putting on here today. Kyle, is there anyone you'd like to shout out here on the podium run?
If anybody wants to watch my stream of this, I've got my YouTube channel, Sexy Wall Trip. Go check that out, and then shout out to Julian and Howie and whoever else has to do all the boring stuff behind the scenes.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much for dropping by. Congrats on your run here today. Was incredibly fun to watch you go to battle here the entire 200 laps.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for putting on the broadcast.
And there it is, Kyle Gretsch finishing 3rd. Throwing the green car myth into the air as well today. He brought the green car home 3rd. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. We do have Dan Itch here. We will want to talk to him about, here is Dan. Dan Itch joins us. He had a top 10 finish today, so a good day for Dan. Also sponsor of the race. Before we get a chance to leave the stream here and go home for the day, we do want you to talk about ALZ.org and the Alzheimer's Association. And then also I had to talk about your race and very quietly got yourself a top 10. What did you do to get yourself in position?
Well, actually, I think I won the race, but P1 through 7 were obviously cheating somehow, and I'm gonna spend my last iRacing credit finding out. I've got lawyers on the case as we speak.
Hey, Dad, well, I'll deal with it.
Unless first through 7th was Andretti Autosport, I don't think you're going to get a disqualification to move you up in the order. I don't know.
Oh, rats! I guess I'm going to spend that $1.50 credit for nothing, huh?
Oh,
okay. Man, I'll tell you what, that was a stone cold blast. The whole race was just so much fun and so intense. If it was half as intensive for you guys in the booth as it was for us on the track, I'm sure you guys had a great broadcast. I can't wait to go back and see the replay.
I wish we had more of your car on stream. It just, you kind of just hung, you did what I call the Gary strat. Just hang around, make the easiest passes on the racetrack. The easiest passes were when people are on pit road. You pick up the spots one by one, stay on the lead lap, and then at the end of the race, ta-da, there's a top 10. I mean, I love that strategy. I love that approach. And
you just try to stay safe as much as you can when you're out on.
And let the other people around you to make those mistakes. But I mean, you nailed the strat. I mean, it couldn't have been any more perfect. Maybe with a little bit more attrition in front of you, and you get a top 5 out of this thing.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because no, I did not nail the strategy. I actually had a very fluid strategy. I changed my mind about things about 3 or 4 times, depending on where those yellows fell. I had to kind of rewrite the manual and figure out something new to try to get myself back up there. And apparently I've got a pretty good race strategist, because it all worked out and we were all of a sudden up there fighting for the lead. And I'm like, wow, how did that happen? But I'll take it. I needed the points badly. I've had a bad year so far. So yeah, I had a great time.
Well, props on today's performance, but let's talk about the important thing at the moment right now. It's Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org. We know it's very important to you. You've been a big supporter of this league, and also making sure that cause gets out in the front of viewers first and foremost. So talk a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org and why it's critically to that everyone help out, and why is it very important to you?
Well, it's important to me because I'm one of those that have a loved one who are suffering from Alzheimer's disease, of course, and that always tends to pique your interest in a subject. And they need so much help as far as not just research dollars, not just medicine or help for those who can't afford the medicine, but because there are so many people suffering from it. And it's a kind of thing that doesn't just affect those who are afflicted with the disease. There's 12 different kinds of dementia. Alzheimer's stands as one by itself, but it also is a part of 5 other forms of dementia. And of course, some of the more popular ones, Lewy body's disease and Parkinson's disease, and things we've heard about through celebrity suffering. But man, it's as much about the survivors and the caregivers, especially, that need help dealing with this situation. I can tell you from experience, it's not the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. And if it wasn't for ALZ.com, I probably wouldn't have been able to cope as well as I was able to cope, and to take care of business and things that had to be taken care of. So if you have anybody that's suffering from the disease, you need to get a hold of ALZ.org, ALZ.org. There's all kinds of information. Of course, they'll take any donations anybody wants to give as well. That's what keeps them running. And hopefully we can end ALZ once and for all.
Well, there you have it. Hit the website. Please donate. It is tax deductible, if I remember right. Correct, Dan?
Absolutely.
Tax deductible. So give, if you have a few extra dollars that you can send it their way. ALZ.org, sponsors of today's race. Dan Inch, big top 10 finish for Dan. I'm sure that's going to help you with the rest of this season as well. Congratulations on the day, and thank you for bringing more awareness to us about ALZ and Alzheimer's and the Alzheimer's Association here on the channel.
Absolutely my honor. And like I said, I can't wait to hear you guys broadcast this thing, because it was exciting out there.
4 wide with 3 to go. Oh, yeah. We were letting it fly. Thanks a lot, Dan.
All right. You guys have a good one.
Well, gentlemen, as Indy 500s go, hey, we finished under caution. So we didn't have one of those big photo finishes that is seen to be stereotypical of an Indy 500 these days. But we had a very exciting race. We had people from the back of the order come to the front. We had people from the front go to the back but come back up to the front. We had people that have accomplishments in other leagues. We have longtime people that have always been in VOR that did well today too. We had a former pro in the lineup. That was Luis Nunez. We had a little bit of everything in this lineup. And as 500-mile races go, I think it kind of delivered at the end. You know, it's got those lulls in the middle that we just kind of wait. As we talked about the dog days, we're just kind of hitting the number, trying to get to that next pit stop. But man, when it was time to race, the race came to us, and we saw a good one at the end.
Yeah, that's why I'm so thankful to everybody that stayed to the end of the stream, waited for this payout, this long building payout. It's like a boiler filling with steam, and by the end of the race, it all just explodes and the pressure gets released. And that's kind of what it feels like to watch a full-length Indy 500 sometimes, as all of that chaos and all of, that pressure building up, the tension that builds up in these drivers, it all gets released in those last 5 to 10 laps, and it becomes absolutely amazing to watch. The strategies pay out, the racers race hard, the hardest they've ever done the entire race, and everything comes to a nice conclusion, a nice bow wrapped on top of it. It was so fun to watch. So thank you to all the viewers that watched the entire 3-hour stream.
Yeah, big thanks to everyone who tuned in for tonight's event. It was an absolute ton of fun, and quite frankly, I mean, how can you not fall in love with this race, even in the virtual sense? It's just the best.
And I want to thank you, Alex, for being here, just being an extra set of eyes. It's not a very easy job to jump in here in a league you're not know about and learn it on the fly and learn all these liveries and get these names in. And this is only race 2 for me, and I'm still kind of learning myself. So really, I guess we got to thank Lucas for carrying us. But Alex, thanks for being here, man. And we got some more races to go. Maybe we see you in a future VOR broadcast coming up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be fun. And thank you all for having me here tonight. It was a pleasure to be able to jump in and witness the spectacle, as it were. I mean, this is just, anytime someone says full length Indy 500, my brain is immediately like full 360 or full 180 on my head. I'm like, all right, let's figure out what that was about. Cause I every time when it's something like that, I want to be a part of it.
Let me check and see if points have been updated. I don't know yet. I don't think so yet. So we will give everybody a updated points when we get to the next race. The next race, don't forget, is Texas on October 11th. Then after Texas, we have a little bit of time off. Then we will go to Road Atlanta. Then we will finish off the year at 2 1-mile ovals that actually will show up on the real IndyCar schedule next year. Milwaukee and Phoenix. We'll wrap up at Phoenix in round 9 just before Thanksgiving. So even though the biggest race of the year is over, the points battle still does resume, and we still have 4 races after that. I don't think I have anything else unless it's time. We should probably close this one out. So again, I'm going to send to my director, let my director and producer let me know if we're ready to call it out. So all right, so that is it for today. Once again, your podium for the 14th running of the Indy 500-mile race presented by Dan Inch with ALZ.org and the Alzheimer's Association from Indianapolis. Kyle Glidworth gets his biggest career win here in the Velocity Online Racing League with a win over Luis Nunez, and Kyle Gretsch comes home third. Join us again Saturday, October 11th, when the series heads to Texas Motor Speedway for round 6 of the season. Coverage will start approximately 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, as always, for the correct broadcast time in your area, you can find everything right here on YouTube at youtube.com. Just search Green Flag, one word, TV as a new word, and you shall find our channel, and you can check out all of our other scheduled events, and you can set reminders. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support us with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video, would you? And if you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of Green Flag TV's other iRacing coverage. And man, they have a ton of it. The Indy 500 is presented to you by the Alzheimer's Association and ALZ.org. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. But they can't end Alzheimer's without your help. To learn more, to donate, go to ALZ.org. Again, that's ALZ.org. Do that today. For business inquiries to learn more about Velocity Online Racing and what they do, visit velocityonlineracing.com. Like them on Facebook. You can follow them on at Twitter as well, or X. And so for Lucas and Alex in the booth, everyone here at Green Flag TV and Velocity Online Racing, I'm Gary Gotso saying to all, happy Saturday, everybody. Thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here October 11th in Texas for the next race of the VOR IndyCar Series. We'll see ya.